Yo, what's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of the Shooter Straight Podcast. It's your co-host Zach.
I'm a co-host G.
Welcome back to another episode. First and foremost, we just wanted to thank y'all for all the previous support. And first and foremost, we wanted to thank y'all for allowing us to hit 400 subscribers on YouTube. It is an immense achievement for us to get. We grinded a long time to get to this point, and we appreciate the support that y'all have been giving us. We've had so many of our most viewed videos in channel history become soon. Very recently. And obviously, we had to kind of stop the momentum a little bit here, but we're glad to be back on track. And, we just appreciate the continued support, and we're going to continue to pump out the content moving forward, even after the World Cup. It's almost over. So we just appreciate the continued support. And, G, I'll let you take this one from here.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate everything, man. We love seeing the comments, even some maybe negative, some are positive, but we really appreciate it. We like to see it. We're sports fans. This is what we live for, and we do apologize for the bit of a gap. We haven't uploaded in a while, but we did just get back from vacation. But we're I'm ready to be back. I've been holding out the talk a lot. We had to miss one whole round that was very difficult. We were watching it, during our vacation. We were watching it while walking through national parks. So,
Yeah.
I'm glad to be back to be, sit down and properly talking about it. So, I mean, other than, what we got all our links and stuff in the description below. So we just got on Spotify. We're on Spotify now. All of our stuff is down below. So, and while you're down there, hit the subscribe button. We just got to 400. We want to get to 500 next. We just want to go, slowly and slowly more. So,
And
while you're down there, it's
G
for free.
G did mention, earlier when we were out, I think at 300 something, that at 500, there might be a cheeky gift card, giveaway.
Cheeky
So,
gift card. But
hey, he
you're
said it, not
holding me to
me.
things. You're holding me to things I said off camera now. Okay.
It's true, but that's neither here nor there. We appreciate the continued support, and I can guarantee that there was nobody else watching Brazil versus Croatia play in the quarters where we were watching it. So
Yeah, no,
it was a good experience.
we're watching it next to a crater.
Exactly, it was a war monument or something like that. I forget it now, but without further ado, let's just go ahead and get straight into this. I think
Let's get right into it.
so. Obviously, two legendary matches have taken place. The World Cup semifinals. This is what you live for. These are the matches. And first and foremost, Argentina versus Croatia just took place yesterday. And let's just get straight into this because I don't want to beat around the bush. I am dying to hear your thoughts on this match. Argentina versus Croatia. Argentina were able to get the win 3-0. What was your initial reaction to it?
Going into this game, my heart rate was at alarming scales. I mean, during the Netherlands game, even the last round, I posted on Instagram. My heart rate was 120 beats per minute when just sitting there. Like I've put so much of my energy into wanting Argentina to go all the way that it's almost detrimental to my health. So this game made me feel no different. I held Croatia because this is Croatia's golden generation. I going against Luka Modric, one of the guys I hold very highly as probably the greatest midfielder to ever play the game. And this Croatian team is a very good team. I mean, they're on the doorstep of the precipice of another back-to-back final. And the doubts are to creep in. Is this sick? Could the fairy tale for Messi be over? But this Argentina team put in their best performance of the World Cup so far. They just, in moments of brilliance, just sliced through Croatia. They could have scored possibly 5 in this game. They were all over Croatia from almost start to finish. We didn't really see what we saw before with Argentina, where sometimes there were gaps of lapse of concentration of like 10 to 20 to 30 minutes where they're kind of holding on. This game was complete, utter Argentina, all Argentina. And my God, Julian Alvarez, take a bow, my son. This was a masterclass performance. He basically could have gotten a hat trick. If he didn't get fouled for the pen, he gets a hat trick in the semifinal for Argentina when his country needs him the most. This was just an all-around, basically, more of even a come-out party to Julian Alvarez because, I didn't really think he could do that. I thought he would start over Martinez, but I thought you would need Martinez to be, kind of cooking around this time because he's proven it in bigger leagues. He's won titles for Inter Milan. But after that, you're completely fine with Julian Alvarez. Julian Alvarez can be your number 9 for a World Cup winning squad because he's just that good. This kid is really good, and it's crazy that Pep's picked him up. He had the Man City just has everybody. I mean, who this isn't even fair no more. But you know, obviously Messi with a Picasso, a virtuoso performance. I mean, that assist to Julian Alvarez, by God, he put the Croatian defense in a blender. I mean, they're still spinning. Like, dude, at 35 years old, Lionel Messi's still doing this, and he's still a vital player. I think he's not had below an 8.0 rating this entire World Cup. At 35 years old, this is just written in the stars. It's literally almost too good to be true, especially against this Croatian team that, they beat 3-0. The last time they played Croatia won 3-0. We actually watched that game. I had to rewatch it because I didn't quite remember it, but I watched it at the airport on the way back, and it started creeping in a little bit more. It's like, gosh, like, this Croatia team is a tough team, but Argentina just made it look so easy and flawless. And it's definitely the performance that you'd like to have going into what is the biggest game of all these players' lives, even including Messi. This is the biggest game of his entire career. And that's crazy to say of someone like Lionel Messi. This is like, not including the Olympics, this is his 1,000th game. Not including the Olympics, this is his 1,000th game. And it's the biggest of his entire career. And I can't wait. I want, before, we're obviously going to get into the final preview after we talk about France, but I want to pass this off to you. What was your thoughts on this game and that Argentina performance against Croatia?
Well, I 100% agree with pretty much everything that you said. For me personally, I can just go ahead and say I texted you before the match, and I said that I didn't have as much doubt about this semifinal match as you did. I felt that Croatia in 2018 were better than they were now, and Argentina are better than they were in 2018. So it's kind of a role reversal. I think that this Argentina team, I said it from the very beginning, this is the team of destiny. And, there's been a lot of team of destinies that haven't gotten the job done before, you can say throughout the history of any sport. But this Argentina team looks primed and ready to actually get this job done. And we're going to get into the final preview in a little bit here. But overall, this match was complete and utter Argentinian dominance. To be fair, in the first, 10, 15 minutes, Croatia probably did look a little bit of the better side. But that was so early in the match, and Argentina were trying to find their footing. And once Croatia didn't score and then Argentina really started to find their rhythm, it was pretty much over. It was done and dusted. And, you alluded to it. Julian Alvarez has cemented himself on the world stage. If he already had it, now it's all but confirmed. And I don't know. Man City, it's a good problem to have, but they've got Erling Haaland and they've got Julian Alvarez, and you could say those are probably two of the most informed strikers in all of world football at the moment. Erling Haaland in the Premier League was lighting it up, and now coming back into the Premier League is going to be Julian Alvarez, who set the World Cup on fire, and he has 4 goals. And depending on how the final goes, he might win the Golden Boot. I'm not good. I wouldn't place a bet on it because Messi and Mbappe are both ahead of him currently, but it could happen. He's in the running. And if you had told somebody at the start of the World Cup that Julian Alvarez would be 3rd place in the Golden Boot right now with 4 goals, they would have told you were lying. He wasn't even supposed to be starting. So what a player he is. He is the perfect 9 to play in this Argentinian team because of, we've seen it in every game, but in this game, it was so evident. He just didn't stop running the entire game. He literally didn't stop running the whole game. He just
feel like we say this about Julian Alvarez every single game.
And it's true. This guy has the engine of Thomas the Train. I mean, he just doesn't stop. He just doesn't stop going.
The tank engine, son.
He just keeps going and going and going. It's relentless, and that's the point that I want to make about this whole Argentinian team. It's very evident throughout all of their matches, but especially after this one, that this whole team around Messi, all 10 players, even the goalkeeper, they fight, and all the outfield players outside of Messi, they give their all every single game. And not that other players aren't trying hard and giving them all, but this Argentinian team, I have never seen a team fight so hard for the badge. They literally will throw their body at any shot. They will put their life on the line to get the win. You see that in the way that they press. You see that in the way that they defend. They are so hard to break down. So they're a team you don't want to play because of how they play the game. And you see this throughout the World Cup. Ever since that Saudi loss, they have really found their form and found their. They are doing what we expected them to do the entire World Cup, and they are making it so difficult to play against them. And you could say that on all of the other matches, the Dutch, against the Dutch, and then even in the round of 16 against Australia, there was moments of shakiness, especially in the latter stages of the game, around the 70th to 80th minute when they had the lead in every game. And there was moments where, okay, they take their foot off the gas a little bit and they get punished. Australia, they were able to get a deflected goal. And then ultimately they almost went and got that, tied at 2-2 and sent it to extra time. But Emi Martinez saved the day. And then the Dutch, they were able to come back from 2-0 down, send it to extra time, went all the way to penalties, and Emi Martinez saved the day again. But this was a complete performance. Argentina, they slammed the door shut, and they didn't let Croatia get back into the game. You would say, 2-0 is one of the most dangerous leads in soccer or football, and they ended up going forward and getting the third goal, and they probably should have gotten the third goal before they even did get the third goal. They could have scored a lot more in this match. So they didn't take all of the chances that they had, but they took the ones they needed to. And look, you can talk about the collectiveness of this Argentina team. And of course, every player in this team is playing great right now, especially Julian Alvarez. But it's all about the main man for me. Lionel Messi. Is there any more to say? What a World Cup he's had. At 35 years old, he's probably having one of the best individual World Cup performances we've seen ever. And it's not crazy to say that. And Messi has had some other good World Cup performances, but this one, he has contributed in every match. He's won 5 Man of the Match awards. He continues to somehow play better than we could even imagine. And I've talked about this guy in previous podcasts, and I rate this guy so highly, especially partly because I think he's going to come to Chelsea. But Gvardiol, Croatia's center back, one of the most informed center backs in all of the world right now, and especially at the World Cup. And he made him look like a bum, made him look like a nobody. He absolutely skinned him. Where are you going, son? Went the wrong way, and then set up one of the greatest dribble moves we have seen in recent memory. What do you expect from Lionel Messi? He continues to impress. He continues to do things that people expect to a certain extent, but things that are just mind blowing because you just don't see normal players do some of the things that Messi does. Whether it's the passing, whether it's the dribbling, whether it's the how he scores the goals. He's just so unbelievably good right now. He is on a mission, and I find it hard to believe that a team will be able to beat this Argentina team the way that he's playing and the whole team around him is playing. I think it's almost an unbeatable system to a certain extent because they have bought into the system. The coaching is perfect, the tactics are perfect, and when the team has bought into something as strongly as this Argentina team has bought into what the manager is selling, it's almost impossible to beat. And we've seen that every game after the Saudi game. They have done it, and it's going to be very tough to beat this team. If I'm France, we're going to get into France versus Morocco, our review of that. But if I'm France looking forward to the final, I don't know what you do to stop this team right now.
Yeah, this is what going back to how you say Argentina, the players, how they play for the badge. Just what I said even before the World Cup started, that this is what this team has always been missing. They've been missing these players to step up. They're missing players to play up in these occasions because we've seen a lot of players play differently for their national teams, and then they go back to club level and they're not the same. That was the opposite of Argentina. They had a lot of good players, back in 2014 and even in those Copa America runs where they lost to Chile. They had the individual players that played for good teams in Europe, but they did not play up for the badge. They did not play up when it came to the international play. And we saw that with Brazil. Brazil have literally, the who's who of, the cream of the crop of players, but they don't play as a unit. They're not playing up to they're not playing up to the standard of the World Cup, and they lost. But this Argentina team, Tagliafico, I haven't seen him since he beat Madrid in 2019. I haven't seen this guy for Ajax. And my God, he looked like Roberto Carlos, dude. This guy was about as fast. I could barely see him on my screen. He was running up and down the wing, creating chances. And we even said this. We were watching none of this game because we saw I forget
Acuna?
the Acuna. Acuna got suspended for that, but we was like, oh, they got Talafico. He should be good enough. My God, is he good enough? I don't know. He should be starting in the final. This guy came out like freaking rocket on wheels, dude. This guy was all over the pitch, and obviously DePaul's been pretty. I think he mostly came out during Argentina winning the Copa America, but he's starting to find his form. He's that engine man. He's the engine room, box to box, does everything. And this Argentina team just has all these players that play up. There's not a lot of people that play for that's like the topper echelon teams. Like, there's not a lot of Premier League players, and then there's not a lot of like very very many La Liga players. There's not a lot of them, but they're playing up to the standard that they have to play to win these games, and that's what we wanted to see. And now it's finally happening. That Messi's his last dance, his one last ride. He's already announced that this final, it will be his last World Cup game ever. There's no chance. There's no shot he plays the next one. This is his
39.
last one. This is his last one. And everything is coming together. I got to give credit to Scaloni. Scaloni's done very well. I mean, after the Saudi loss, putting these guys together. And he's changed tactics a lot to suit team. I could tell this guy, he watches games and he adjusts. He makes adjustments before games. We've seen him switch to a 3 in the back, and then we've seen him switch to what is now a 4-4-2, and at times I think it's a 4-4 what is it
4-3-1-2.
4-3-1-2, and he's able to adjust, and his adjustments are spot on. They're perfect. They're great. I mean, he put in a little bit more midfield because that was the one thing I was afraid of, the Croatia midfield. Because you have Luka Modric, you have Kovacic, and you have Brozovic. That's like
It's a
one
really
of
good
the
midfield.
yeah, that's a really good midfield. So he loaded up a little bit extra. Playing. We saw like DePaul will look to be at cam, and he even switching to a 4-4-2, adding that extra man in the midfield to combat that 3. It worked perfectly, and I'm curious to see what they have schemed up for France, but I mean, I trust Scaloni. Scaloni seems to know what he's talking about and what he's doing.
And it's a very good point because coming into the match, everyone was saying that if you can stop Croatia's midfield, you basically have stopped Croatia. But the hardest part is to stop that midfield because of how good it is. And Scaloni did that perfectly.
Absolutely, yeah.
This was the same way that this was Messi's last dance. This was Modric's last dance, and I'm sure he would have loved to have been able to put a bigger footprint on the match than he did. But part of that was just because of how Scaloni and the rest of this Argentina team prepared and the way that they were able to neutralize the entire midfield. And you have to give 100% credit to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've seen that in every match after the Saudi game. They've been willing to make adjustments. Like you alluded to, they switch formation more than you switch your underpants. I mean, they just do it all the time, and it's like they don't even blink. It's like Scaloni says, "Oh, we're switching." Okay, they switch and they get on with their business. They don't fold. They don't play any worse or any better per se. They just play how they play. And no matter the formation, no matter the tactics, they play, and they play perfectly as to how the coach wants them to play. And that is absolutely amazing. And it allows them to have a lot of different options because looking forward, now to the final, they can basically play anything. Whatever they see as the best way to neutralize France, that's what they're going to play. And you have 100% faith in whatever they play because of how they have shown that they can be as consistent as they have been in any formation, any tactics, any starting 11. Acuna, no Acuna, no, it doesn't matter. Whoever they got on the field and whatever tactics they play, they're going to play the Argentinian way, and it's working. And you have to give 100% credit to Scaloni. It's an absolute managerial masterclass, and I've been very impressed by him. Obviously, the same way I'm impressed with the rest of the Argentina starting 11 and even the bench. We got to see Dybala make his first
Dybala
cameo.
played a couple minutes.
He
I
did.
couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it.
I couldn't believe it either, to be fair. But that just goes to show how dominant of a win it was because Dybala's getting in.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I didn't quite give the flowers that I feel like I should have to Croatia.
I
Look, we
was dude, I was literally waiting till you stopped speaking so I could say that shit. But yeah, go on, go on.
look, we're gonna talk about Argentina plenty more, but this is probably we're not gonna talk about Croatia again. And this Croatia golden generation has really done something special. Whether it's including the last World Cup 2018, where they were able to make the magisterial run all the way to the final and come up just short against France, and that was a dominant France win, but it wasn't unbeatable. They scored 2 goals in that match. Things went differently. They might have been able to win that game, but and then they were able to repeat. Now 2022 World Cup, take out Brazil. The favorites of the tournament, make it to the quarterfinals. It is absolutely so impressive for this Croatia golden generation. You find it hard to believe, potentially to a certain extent, that we're ever going to see a Croatia golden generation better than this. Might be their best one of all time, maybe in our lifetime, because realistically, they have so many world class players, and maybe even a notch above world class. You have all time greats. Luka Modric, you said he was the greatest midfielder of all time. Even if you don't want to go that far, you have to say top five. Croatia might never produce this amount of talent at this one time period again. And you have to tip your cap to this golden generation for a population of 3 million. They have done absolutely amazing. They have cemented themselves as a footballing great as a country. And, I don't know what this means going forward for Croatia, who they've got coming up, if they've got any young, bright talent, that's coming up through the ranks that's going to replace this, a legendary run of Luka Modric and a few others that are probably going to, leave. But you just have to give your flowers to Croatia because they have done nothing but excel and prove doubters wrong match after match. And even after this game, they were outclassed to a certain extent by Argentina, but they left with their heads held high because they knew the greatness that they accomplished. And you just have to tip your cap because this is a great Croatia team, and I'm sad to a certain extent that it's over. This golden generation is now kind of over, but I'm excited to see what they can produce in the future because if they can produce the guys that they have now, who says they can't do it again?
Yeah, it's one never really knows, but I was gonna harp on the same points that what a privilege it's been to see this golden generation of Croatia. I mean, they've only been to the World Cup 7 times, and they've been to 3 semifinals and 1 final. That's This Croatia golden generation was miles better than Belgium's, and we can.
Yeah.
I mean, Belgium's. We don't even name off the golden players they've had, but this Croatian team, just it's this generation has been miles better. I mean, to a certain extent, they've been better than England. I mean, what if they? I mean, Croatia
Yeah,
have a
that's
World
not
Cup
crazy to
final.
say. Yeah, they beat
I
England.
mean, they did beat England, and they've been to a World Cup final, and they were 1 game away from another one. I mean, they just happened to run into God Messi's final story, but
The team
they
of
were
destiny.
the team of destiny. They were 1 game away from another one, back to back World Cup finals. Not a lot of teams can say that. Not a lot of teams have been back to back semis, other than France, who are the champions.
Yeah.
But this golden generation has it's probably going to be very underrated. People are not. I don't know how many people will remember how good this Croatian team was and how what I'm sure everybody's going to remember Luka Modric because he's Luka Modric, but the other players that this scene like Kovacic, always he's still going to be a great player, always good. Rakitic, when they still had him, was great. Mandzukic, I mean, like there's a lot of players like Perisic. There's a lot of these players that a lot of people are not
Brozovic.
going to. Yeah, Brozovic, a lot of bitches in there, but but literally this golden generation is just I think Croatia have to for like a population of 3 million, you have to hold your heads high to because you got to compare yourself to even other countries that have such higher populations, and even a lot of other nations that have just all around better player. Brazil, they've had a better run than current Brazil. I mean, Brazil hasn't been really halfway where they expected, and Croatia beat Brazil. So as far as Croatia is compared to other elite, people that you probably hold higher than them, they performed a lot better in recent memory than a lot of those teams. So I mean, it's sad the story has to come to an end. It was probably Luka Modric's last game. I believe this might be his last game for internationally entirely. I mean,
Yeah,
I
probably.
I don't see him playing in the Euros. You know, it's a bit far because I mean, Luka Modric, he's old, man. He's about
What
to
is
be
he?
40.
Yeah,
He's
he'd
close to
be
40.
what 41 when the Euros happen. I don't see it happening. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure he's just gonna retire from international
yeah. I
play.
mean, I would too. I mean, you know, you carry your team to a semifinal. You do all you can. He left it all out there, and he's obviously, without a doubt, the greatest player to ever come out of Croatia.
Oh yeah,
But you
and
know,
and I did like what the manager did. Subbing him off and allowing him to get his standing ovation from the crowd.
yeah, yeah, because I mean, the game was already
The game
for
was over.
yeah, it was over, and you know, it was his final send
His
off.
final, his final send off. Yeah.
But I really I really just had to sit back and appreciate this Croatian golden generation, and because unfortunately we're going to be, this is the Argentina show now, we're going to be talking all about them, but you know, I don't want to just completely brush off that Croatian team.
I 100% agree, and that's why I said what I said. It's a remarkable golden generation, much better than Belgium's, and you just tip your cap to them, and it'll be interesting to see what they do going forward because of what they're losing, and the magnitude of what they're losing.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But without further ado, unless you have anything else to say about that match or anything of the matter.
No, I think I'm ready to get into the other side of the bracket. You know, talking about the team that's going to be playing against Argentina, which was France versus Morocco. And I wanted to get, you know, your first initial thoughts because the game was today. It was a couple hours ago.
Yep.
This France versus Morocco. What was your initial thoughts of it?
Well, look,
Screen.
Morocco. Yeah. Well, look, Morocco. You've done amazingly in this whole tournament, and you can hold your heads high because I feel like they should have won this match. You know, they had the chances to win this match, and it's so unfortunate because they just didn't have the finishing ability in this match. They just weren't clinical enough. They created the chances to at least bring this match to extra time. Like if France were only going to score 2 goals, Morocco created more than enough chances to have that opportunity to send this match to extra time, maybe even win the match. And it's so unfortunate because it would have been even more legendary than this run already was. And obviously, I don't think this magical run of Morocco is going to go under the radar per se. People are going to forget about it because they're the first African team to make it this far. I think this will continue to be talked about for years to come. But they could have really done it. They could have went one step further and made the final. They had the chances, and it would have been just a complete magical run for them to take out, Belgium in the group stage, but then Spain, Portugal, and then France, and then have a date with Lionel Messi in the final. It would have been magical, but ultimately, on paper, the better team went through. France, they have that championship experience. They've been here before. Literally 4 years ago, they were in that same scenario in the semifinal. They won. They went to the final, and then they won it. So they have that pedigree, and I think that's what kind of showed today. The moment maybe was just a little bit too bright for some of these Morocco players. They none of them particularly played bad, and it was quite unfortunate the fact that both of their center backs got injured. One in training, warm ups, and then Saiz, which was the captain, literally got injured 20 minutes into the match. And
Yeah, that I
obviously,
thought that was crazy when I saw that.
and that's unlucky. It's unfortunate, but the defense for the most part was still solid even without them. That just goes to show how great this Moroccan team plays because their defense was still solid enough and their attack was good in this game. They created the chances. They really could have done more in this match. But ultimately, France were just more clinical. And Teo Hernandez, look, that's the point. If you told me that Teo Hernandez was going to score 5 minutes into the game and that Morocco was going to do as well as they did, I would have told you you're lying. France score 5 minutes into the game. They take the life out of this Morocco team. And Morocco, they swung back. They didn't fold. They didn't roll up like a ball into the corner. No, they swung back at France and they gave them a run for their money. And you have to look, it just goes to show the character of this team. In Morocco, similar to Croatia, what a run they had. And that's probably all you can say about Morocco. I think that genuinely they had a chance to win this match and it was just unlucky. But with France, they did what they needed to do. They showed why they are the champs. They showed that finishing ability. They showed the clinicalness. And Mbappe had a good game, but he didn't have a great game. And it just goes to show how good this team is, even without all the injuries that they have and all the star players. I mean, we're talking this team doesn't have Benzema, doesn't have Nkunku, doesn't have Kante, doesn't have Pogba, doesn't have Mendy wasn't even taken, but Lucas Hernandez Teo's brother got injured in the first match. This team has a lot of injuries, a lot of players that would be playing that aren't playing, and they've still made it to the World Cup final. It goes to show how great this French team is with depth. It goes to show how many magnificent world class players they have. And, they were the favorites in this match. They did what they needed to do. One name that he's not necessarily flying under the radar per se because people are talking about him now, but somebody that, I didn't expect to be playing as good as he
I know
is
you're gonna say. Yeah, I know you're gonna say.
Antoine Griezmann. People are starting to talk about him now because of, how well he has been playing, but what a performance, especially today, but even throughout the whole World Cup. Antoine Griezmann has turned back the clock. I think essentially the Nkunku replacement once Nkunku got injured, and he's basically turned back the form to 2018. He's looking like 2018 Griezmann. I mean, he's doing so much for this team. He might not be scoring all the goals or anything like
He's
that,
yeah, but
but
his build up and connecting play.
he's almost playing like France's version of Messi without the goals. He's connecting the play. You see him even, go back and defend a little bit. You see him doing so much for the team that isn't showing up on the score sheet. And he's doing the dirty work. And something, to be fair, I'll hold my hands up. I would have never expected Griezmann to play the way that he's playing because I never thought he was that type of player. But he is clearly. He is doing so much for this France team. He's basically pulling the strings. He's like the ventriloquist. I mean, he's doing immense things. Another amazing performance today. If you sat there and watched Griezmann today, you saw how instrumental he was to France, and he literally picked Morocco apart at times, and basically created the first goal. And you know, it's something I don't think anybody expected because coming into the World Cup, what kind of form was he on? He wasn't even really playing for Atletico Madrid because of the clause in his
The
contract that
clause in this contract.
where he
Yeah.
could only play 30 minutes at a time or whatever. So I don't think anybody expected this, but you got to tip your cap. This is why Griezmann is going to go down as an all-time great, essentially. He's already proven himself as that. 2018 cemented himself as a legend, all things considered. And I just didn't expect him to be able to turn back the clock like this for one, I guess, last dance per se at the top level. But he has. And it'll be interesting to see how this translates to club, because was this just a magical World Cup run because he's wearing the France shirt again? Or is he going to be able to play like this, for club? Is he going to leave Atletico Madrid? And I don't know exactly what's going to happen for his club, but it's amazing that he's been able to do what he's going to do. And this whole France team, they just impressed. To show many what a performance. And this whole World Cup, he's been great. Real Madrid have once again found themselves a bargain. You're wearing the kit, and they continue to do great business. And he's proven why. Basically, it's not forget Kante and Pogba, but Tchouaméni has filled in the boots quite nicely. I mean, making you forget that Kante and Pogba were even a thing. And the defense was solid today. Hugo Lloris, he didn't make any mistakes. Sometimes he's prone to making big mistakes in big games. No mistakes. Solid. Got the clean sheet. All things considered, this was a good France performance. One thing, though, look, Mbappe had a couple moments of brilliance. Don't get me wrong. But once again, I feel like he was neutralized to a certain extent. Like he had a couple moments of brilliance. Mbappe's going to have those. But he was relatively quiet for a large majority of the game.
Other than the assist to the second goal, I mean that was pretty,
It was that was a deflected assist. I don't know if they're counting that as an assist. I don't think
in my book it counts.
But and look, like I said, a couple moments of brilliance. He had some amazing dribble moves. That's what you expect from Mbappe. But he wasn't super instrumental. He had relatively a quiet match. Because I'm holding Mbappe to the highest of the high standards, and I just think he could have done a little bit more. It'll be interesting to see how he does in the final because, like we mentioned, Argentina are going to try to find a way to, neutralize him as much as possible. And I think Other teams have been able to do it, so I would be surprised if Argentina didn't come up with a good game plan. But we'll get into that in a little bit here. All things considered, great France performance. It's unfortunate, that Morocco had to go out, but I think it sets up the dream final that everyone kind of wanted, and I'm happy with it. And I think all things considered, a fair result. But Morocco maybe should have done a little better. But I would love to hear your thoughts on this now.
Yeah, you know, all apologies to the Moroccan fans. We
Yes,
definitely heard a
100%.
lot of it, during the Portugal game. And to be fair, y'all, I seen a lot of them nailed it right on the head. I mean, shit, you got it right. We were wrong, And some people said I sounded a bit arrogant saying the fairy tale had to end, but that's why I'm glad, to a certain point I didn't, because if I were to come on here to predict this game, France versus God, what?
Morocco?
Morocco. Yeah, but I don't know why I forgot the name for a sec. If I were to come on here to predict that, it would have just been kind of the same thing. I would have predicted France again. But I mean, it's just like it kind of had to end to a certain point because I mean, like you said, Morocco had a good chance to win this game, but I mean, it just really came down to this a team with experience against another team that hasn't been here. I mean, no African team has ever been here. So I mean, to expect for them to just completely, hit it nail on the head and just finish the champions, I don't know. I really didn't think that was going to happen. I kind of wanted it to. I wanted it to happen. I think that would have been amazing to see an African team in the final, but I just couldn't. I couldn't see them beating this France team. And Hakimi's been. I think Hakimi is the best fullback in the world right now. I mean, he the things he was doing on both sides of the ball, how dynamic he is. He's such a wonder to watch. And Hakim Ziyech, he didn't play spectacular, but I mean he's still a very very solid player. I hope he plays a little bit more for Chelsea. I mean I think
I hope so
he's
too.
a little bit underutilized, but I mean sadly the fairy tale story had to end here for Morocco, and I hope I'm not saying that very much like an asshole now since they've lost, but it was a historic run. This team will never be forgotten. I mean, it's the first team. It's impossible to forget this team because they made history. They're the first African team in the semifinal. You can't forget about a team that's literally made history. I mean, that's something that's impossible. But you know, France back to back World Cup finals. The chance to be the first team since what was it, Brazil?
1958, yeah.
1958 Brazil shows you how hard it is to do this to be back-to-back champs. And I mean France, they there was a little bit chinks in the armor. I mean they give up chances. I mean you can this France team's not impossible to break down because weirdly enough, soon as they scored within the first 5 minutes, you could almost thought it was going to be curtains. I mean, that completely throws Morocco's entire game plan out the window because they're a defensive team. They like taking teams to extra time and trying to grind out 1-0s or 0-0s or stuff like that. But Morocco just decided said, "Buck it, we're switching and we're just going to attack you." And they created very good chances. I mean, I don't know why, almost to a point, they should have been playing more like this. I mean, they can actually get at you. They can get at defenses. Then they can get into very good positions to score. It's just, a lot of it that we've only really seen this in this one game. We haven't really seen this through the entire tournament, them be able to create these chances. So we haven't seen them finish a lot of them. And that was the problem. They made so many chances, clear-cut chances. They could have scored on this French team, but they were just missing it. They just weren't sharp enough. They weren't as sharp. But it was surprising. I didn't expect that from this Morocco team to be able to create that many chances against France and to be able to get at France because, I mean, France played well against England. I mean, Griezmann, like you said, I mean, Griezmann, he looks like 2016, man. This guy looks brilliant, especially against like England. I remember the build-up goal to the Choumeni screamer. I mean, he's doing it all. And
Unbelievable.
I think Mbappe's doing his thing. I mean, he's like it's hard because he's kind of getting the earlier Messi Ronaldo treatment where it's basically the entire scheme is meant to stop just you. Like every other team in the world's okay with anybody else beating them, but Mbappe can't beat us. That's not what's happening here. Mbappe's not going to beat us, and it's a little bit tough. It's going to hurt him, but I think just him being there him adding his little things to the game, help kind of being the instrument to that second goal to finally put the game to bed.
And
Is
you make a good point. I think even in the first goal with Teo, Mbappe dragged 6 players to him because of the Mbappe kind of aura, and
the
he allowed
Mbappe
Teo to get that
effect.
space. So you make a good
Yeah.
point.
And I'm always gonna. I think I still think he's the best player in the world. I mean, he's garnering everything. I mean, they're putting 6 guys around this guy. I mean, it's it's without it's Mbappe, but you know, not going back to the Morocco thing. Still want to give Morocco full credit. I mean, they've made a great run. Hold your heads high. You did something that no one thought you could do. You were the story of this World Cup. This Morocco team is the team of the World Cup. I mean, who would have thought? I could not like because the crazy thing, we talked about this before this tournament started. What team was, because we said for sure, without a doubt, one team is going to make it further than anybody will ever predict. One team, because there's always that one team that goes, that gets all these upsets to get into this, deep position. And who would have thought it'd be Morocco out of all teams? I mean, people thought it was going to be Serbia. Without Serbia, they've had a stinker. It's just it's impossible to predict, and that's what the beauty of the World Cup is. We get these gems, get these great stories that we thought we'd never see, and we're seeing a lot of history happen. I mean, this final is, to give credit, this is the original final I predicted. I predicted Argentina versus France, and we're gonna see either the first back World Cup in how many, 50 plus years, or we're gonna see Argentina win a World Cup in what, the past, another what, 40, 60 plus years. Like,
It
this
was
stuff we haven't seen in
1986.
a while. And
So
1986 when Argentina won it.
with
Oh, what
Maradona,
was that? Maradona, Jesus, like that. How
that's
far,
what
far?
38 years ago,
Yeah, and
something
it'd
like that.
be what? I mean, it's been so long since we even seen a South American team win this World Cup. What I've been pleading for, please, for God's sake, don't let the
To be
Europeans
fair,
win another World Cup.
a South American team literally hasn't won the World Cup since we've been able to watch it. We were both born the same year, 2002, and that's when Brazil won. So
That's when Brazil won, and I've been crying, clamoring. That's why you were excited when Brazil got knocked out. I was a bit gutted because I wanted more. I want the South Americans to step up because I mean, I have more South American roots. I want them to do better, but I think,
the reason why I was like that was because I'm rooting for Messi, and
oh
I would
my
rather
god,
Messi play Croatia than Brazil, and obviously
that
I think that's the
man, that's a
correct choice
bullshit.
because they smoked Croatia 3-0. So I don't know if it would have went like that against Brazil. To be fair,
I
I
don't
guess
think
we'll
so
never
either.
know.
We'll never know. But definitely swinging back to that semifinal. France, they did what they had to do. I mean, you're the favorite. You have to win this game. They won it fairly. On the score sheet, they won it comfortably. But I feel like for it being a 2-0, it was a lot closer than what that score line says.
That's a very good point. I think all things considered, this when you look back on this game, 8 years down the line, 4 years down the line, you're gonna say France comfortably won this game and Morocco were just a little bit outclassed. But we just watched it. That was not the case. Morocco, they were not outclassed. They just didn't take their chances. They could have really won this game. I'll live and die on that hill.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, this game was very up for grabs, and I think if Morocco, didn't play as defensively as they did through this tournament, they maybe played a bit more attacking, get a little bit sharper. They could have easily scored because I mean, it's hard to completely switch the game plan 5 minutes into the biggest game of your entire country's history. Like it's very difficult, and they did it very well. I mean, they were able to create all those chances, but I mean, they hit the wall when it came to finishing it. And Lloris had a couple, good saves, but he also had a couple, like that was more of a finishing issue than anything. But you know, I've give Morocco their praises, give them their love, and France are back to another World Cup final, and I'm prepared to watch this final. And I don't know what we're exactly doing yet. I don't know if we're gonna live stream the game or getting reactions, but that was another thing that I was thinking about. Is I don't even know if I want people to see my reactions to this game because it's gonna be it's gonna be hideous, dude. I can't imagine being recorded actually watching these games that I actually care about because even as I was watching the Netherlands versus Argentina game, I'm glad no one was recording me because this is stuff I never want anybody to see. Just because literally I'm half fucking dead on the floor. I'm literally rolling around. I can't stand in one place.
Fell to our
So
knees. I
but
remember when Enzo hit the post against the Dutch, and
oh my
I literally fell
god.
to my knees.
I I couldn't believe it, man. I remember it came down to that last pen for Martinez. Yeah,
Lautaro, oh my god.
Tower. Oh my god. I
I
don't
was
want to
literally
ever
I was sat there saying like, "Oh, Lautaro, bro, he's off form right now, bro.
La
How did
Tower off
he's
form.
missing this?"
And my god, man, my heart was dying, but it's gonna have to he's gonna have to withstand one last ride, dude. One last game.
And I think, look, one last dance. This is the perfect transition into our France versus Argentina World Cup final preview. And look, I'll give you your props. You predicted this matchup at the very beginning of the World Cup. We did our prediction video, and you predicted this, and you ultimately went on to change your mind. I will add that in there. But you did predict this at the start. You said France would be playing Argentina come this match, and it's exactly what happened. And look, there's so much to unpack and get into with this game. There's so many storylines, whether you want to talk about the teams itself, individual storylines. There's so much to talk about with this matchup. But I'll just go ahead and pass this one off to you first with your overall just initial thoughts coming into the game for both teams.
What soon as the final whistle blew in that Morocco France game, I immediately hopped on Instagram and I reposted the rematch because this is what this was. This is what I predicted before this tournament started, that it would be a rematch of the round of 16 game in that 2018 World Cup, where Argentina, when they originally played, that was a very poor Argentina side, and they were winning part in that game. They were up in that game. There was moments where they struck that French team, and it took basically Mbappe transforming into some like creature to fully outgun this team. But there was moments where even that Argentina team had good chances against France, and now I think the roles have flipped a little bit to where this French team is not as good as it was in 2018, and this Argentina team is miles better than what they were. And I mean, I'm sticking to obviously what I picked this entire tournament. Argentina are going to win this game. I I obviously when the day gets closer, I'm gonna be nervy and stuff, but I'm right now I cannot see this Argentina team losing. You know it having the greatest player ever, it having people that are willing to literally die to win this for Messi. I saw players crying saying, "I just hope we can win this for Leo." Like this game means so much. It's the biggest game in this entire every player on the Argentina's roster's entire lives, and it's gonna be it's gonna be the essence of the World Cup. It's gonna be exactly what this tournament was made for. Everything this tournament is advertised as. It's going to be must see. It's the World Cup final that we've wanted to see. I mean, it's the best of South America versus the best of Europe. It's gonna be absolutely must see, and it's gonna I'm gonna be at the edge of my seat. You know, Mbappe versus Messi. That's gonna be so awkward for to go back to club. I mean, even if Messi loses, bro, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say to Mbappe after that. But it's gonna be definitely the highest level of football you can watch. And if you're not a football fan, watch this game. This is the one game you should watch. If you're gonna watch any game, watch this game because it's just gonna be the best you can possibly see. And I'm gonna hold out that I think this is gonna be a shootout. I think it's gonna be a high scoring game, and I could see it possibly being 3-4. I think, because sometimes, I think both these teams can get at. I think Argentina is a good defensive team, but we've seen that they can be scored on. I mean, we saw the Netherlands score two goals on them in 10 minutes. I mean, especially when you're going up against like the firepower France have. But I think the grit of Argentina and how it is not very hard to break down this French team as many good players they've had. I mean, we've seen Argentina be able to break down teams, and I think this is going to be a high scoring match. I see Argentina winning this 4-3.
So you're seeing like the reversal of what it was in 2018.
Yeah,
So, and that would be funny if it did happen like that because in 2018 Croatia beat Argentina 3-0,
3-0.
and then it reversed. So if that did happen, that would be funny to a certain extent. But I would just say that this is going to be absolute must see TV. Look, pretty much every match in the World Cup, you got to have your eyes glued to it because it only comes around every 4 years. But this match is the match of all matches, the grand finale. I mean, this is what you pay the big bucks to see. I literally, if this was pay per view, I'm paying for it. This is Messi versus Mbappe, France versus Argentina. The storylines in this game are absolutely endless. I mean, look, they played in 2018. It was an absolute magisterial match, and it was one of the matches of the 2018 World Cup. And France were able to go on and win that whole World Cup. And if Argentina were able to get it done, even in 2018, you could say potentially they would have went on and won the World Cup. So that was maybe a mini final in itself. And then now they're replaying it, 2022 in the actual final. It is just, I predicted Argentina to make it this far the entire World Cup. I've died on this hill, and I'm not budging. I'm not changing my mind. I firmly believe Argentina will win this match. I think that this France team is just quite simply not as good as they were in 2018, and I've said it the whole World Cup, and I've been wrong to a certain extent because I've said that even at the beginning of our pre-tournament predictions, I said that this France team, I didn't think that they were going to make it this far because they don't have the same quality. I didn't rate them as highly, and they've proven me wrong. They have shown that they definitely have the quality. They are still world class in almost every position, and they're deserving to make it this far. But I think that this Argentina team, like I said earlier, the team of destiny, and they are willing to die to win this game. And it's not only the fact that they want to win the World Cup for themselves, but they want to win it for Messi. They would do anything to win it for their goat. This is a part of history. This is literally potentially ending the goat debate. There's so much more to this game than even just the fact that it is the World Cup final. And when it comes down to tactically, I think you know Argentina, the way that they play, they're so feisty. They're so difficult to break down. They don't let you necessarily always get into a good rhythm. And while they are very good at getting into their rhythm, and they can get into their rhythm very quickly, and even if there are moments of lapses of concentration, like we've seen at some points throughout the tournament, they're always able to pull through and get it done. And they're coming off of their best game. This Croatia performance that just happened was their absolute best game of the tournament. And what better time to have your absolute best performance than right before the biggest match of everyone in that team's life, against France. So I think that their confidence is absolutely sky high. I think that they've got Julian Alvarez, who is going to play another magisterial game. I think he's going to play fantastic. I think he's going to do everything that he's done the entire tournament and even more. He's going to give 150% effort, and this guy is going to run the entire game. He's going to press, 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 and he's also going to do what he needs to do in terms of linking play. As the nine. You don't have to do necessarily so much when you've got Lionel Messi there to kind of help you out. But he's able to contribute in that way as well. He's able to stretch defenses. He's able to do it all for this Argentina team. That's why I've said from the very beginning that this guy is the perfect striker to play in this Argentina team with Lionel Messi because of what he offers to the team. And then you just go down the line, the midfield. They are willing to run all day, and they are just so good at not only retaining possession, but just absolute being pressing machines. And Enzo Fernandez has really come into his own in this World Cup, and he's proven why he's going to get such a big money deal to a big club in Europe. I don't know who it's going to be, but someone is going to come get this kid because he's been playing absolutely immensely. Besides the fact that he missed a penalty against the Dutch, I just think that this Argentina team, I don't see them losing. I just can't. It's hard for me to even fathom it because I just think this is the team of destiny. And this is not taking away anything from France. I barely even talked about them. I think it's unfair for me to just talk about Argentina. This France team they're very good. There's no doubt about it. They've deserving to make it this far, but I just think tactically speaking, Argentina are going to have the answers for Kylian Mbappe as much as you can, and if you're able to stop Mbappe, Ousmane Dembele, he's going to be on the other wing. He hasn't had the best tournament. He's good, but he hasn't been at his best necessarily, as good as we know he can be, and I think it just comes down to a certain extent. And I never thought I'd be saying this, but can you neutralize Antoine Griezmann? Because he's been the absolute talisman of this French team. And can you neutralize him? Can you not allow him to do the things that he's been doing to link up the play for this French team? And I think Argentina have the answers. They're going to be able to do that. Give me Argentina winning this match in a 3-2 game. You said 4-3. I think it's going to be 3-2. It's going to be high scoring. I could see it ending 4-3, but give me 3-2. I just think Argentina conceding 3 goals, I don't know if I see that happening. But this French team, if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be them, because when they get going, they can score on anybody and they can pound it on you. They can get at you in so many different ways. And one point before I think we move on to the other maybe talking points about this match, I'm a little bit nervous, though, about the impact that Olivier Giroud is going to have on this match. Obviously, we all know I rate Giroud so highly. I think he is, look, if anyone's going to replace Karim Benzema, Olivier Giroud is the guy, because this guy is so important to this France team and how he links up the play, how he plays with Kylian Mbappe. He is like the perfect striker to play in this France team if you're not going to have Benzema. And I think we've seen it against the Dutch. Wout Weghorst, he came on for 20 minutes and he scored 2 goals, but his aerial presence was able to kind of rattle Argentina to a certain extent. And I just don't know if France are going to maybe go with tactical kind of ideas of trying to be more aerial and attack this Argentinian defense with crosses and things of that nature. If they do go that way, Olivier Giroud, we all know how much of a threat he can be in the air. And I think that might be one of the ways you get at this Argentina team outside of, possession play or anything like that. Aerially, we've seen Otamendi and Romero. They are willing to, put their life on the line here, but they still can be get at aerially. And Olivier Giroud, we know what he can do in the air. So I think that's one potential cause for concern. But all things considered, it doesn't make me change my mind.
Yeah. I would say the same. I mean, you look up and down this French team, any one of these players on their day can beat you. I mean, literally, it could be a rocket from Tchouaméni, it could be Griezmann, it could be Giroud, it could be a sighting of Dembele. Dembele hasn't played very well, but I think Dembele, his contribution to this team has been very I think it's been good. He's done a lot of stuff that hasn't showed up in the score sheet, but I think his dribbles and his attacking from that wing have been pretty well. And obviously the main man, Kylian Mbappe. I mean, this Argentina team still knows what Mbappe did to them 4 years ago. I mean, that performance, I remember they were clocking his speeds and they were like Olympic, level speed. I was like, Jesus Christ, man. I at the time he was running at what, Mascherano? Like, bro, my God, man. The dude, like, what these are like retired
like
players,
Rojo
basically.
and stuff.
Yeah, like Marcos Rojo, bro. It's like, chill out, man. But obviously, I think there's been somewhat of a good because I know Scaloni's been watching every single one of these games. That he's seen how teams have somewhat kind of neutralized Mbappe, and I'm sure he's already has something planned up to do something similar to kind of stop Kylian Mbappe. And I think it's going to be to the similar thing. I think we're going to see, not as much as Mbappe. I don't think they're basically going to have someone else beat them. If anybody's going to beat this Argentina team, I don't think it's going to be Mbappe. They're not going to allow it. It's going to have to be someone else. It's going to have to be a Giroud. It's going to have to be a Griezmann. It's going to have to be one of those guys. But, I back Argentina. And, God, if Argentina don't do it, I don't know how dude, I can't even remember how many times in sports I've been heartbroken. I think the last time I've ever been truly heartbroken, I think was the Miami Heat's Game 7 loss to the Celtics. But God, this would be next level, man. Like, this is like basically the last game we ever see Messi play, and probably an Argentina kid. I don't know if he loses his final. I don't know if he comes back for the Copa America. God knows what Messi does. I mean, but hopefully, we can get the ending that we want, and we could finally, put a stamp on that. There's just no more debate about this. Like, it's not even a conversation. It's not even like something I ever want to talk with somebody about. Like
I,
the who is the greatest player of all time.
I think that is the another obviously huge talking point of this match, and it's what happens if Argentina and Messi are able to win this game. And you've kind of already hinted at your thoughts here, but for clip purposes,
Yeah.
do you think that this officially wraps up the debate 100%, no doubt, if Messi is able to win this World Cup?
If Messi wins this World Cup, it's done. I mean, for me, it's already been done for a really long time. It's been done since I think Ronaldo left Real Madrid, because when he left Real Madrid, I never saw him really winning anything else of meaning. Because I mean, I think for me, what this him winning this World Cup does, it closes the conversation for greatest athlete ever. I think this is the greatest career from a single athlete ever. If Messi does this, if Messi wins the World Cup, it's done, wrapped. There's no other player in any sports ever to touch this guy's career, because he's just done the impossible. He's done things that are the only thing comparable I could think is maybe Tom Brady winning 7 Super Bowls, but Messi has 7 Ballon d'Ors. And he has 7 Ballon d'Ors. And to me, those are individual player awards to the best player in the world. That's like winning 7 MVPs.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't happen.
Doesn't
That's
happen.
never going to happen. It's never going to happen. And Messi would have won every trophy of meaning internationally. That was the final thing. That's like the Ronaldo stands, the Pele stands, whatever stand you want to be. They were fucking the last like hope of breath before the spear stabs their heart. Was Messi never did anything internationally. He never won anything for Argentina. They're literally they're wrapping it up. They're packing their bags. If he does this, it's over. It's not even a conversation that who's better, Messi or Ronaldo. It's not even a conversation. You can't have that no more, because Messi would have literally won every single thing a player that plays professional football could ever try and win. He's won literally everything. Won the Champions League, won Ballon d'Ors, won the World Cup, won the Copa America, won fucking everything, man. So I think that would just be it for me. Messi winning the World Cup would just cement him as the greatest sports athlete to ever walk planet Earth.
And that's interesting. All things considered, I 100% agree. I think that for me personally, this is not even to me like it's not even a debate already. Like Messi is the GOAT. He's been my GOAT for a long time, and there was nothing Ronaldo could have done to overtake Messi, I don't think. And now, given where Ronaldo is at with his career, he doesn't even have a club. I don't think
he's free right now.
I don't think that's gonna change. So for me, he's already been the GOAT. But if you're just gonna talk about even having the debate, even mentioning the two in the same breath,
this is something I wouldn't even talk at a pub.
Like for me, if he wins the World Cup here, you don't even put the two in the same breath. The only reason that these two are even compared in the first place is because they're in the same generation going at it. But you cannot compare Messi and Ronaldo. I think if you take Messi and you have Messi's doing his career now, and you put Ronaldo 10 years earlier or 10 years ahead, Messi, you don't even compare the two, because you easily know Messi is the better player. The only reason that they're even talked about in the same breath is because they've been going at it in the same era. And look, it's been an absolute joy to watch this era, but you cannot put these two in the same breath, even right now, I think. But look, for anyone that is a Ronaldo stan, whatever, you gotta hang up your boots, son. It's over if this happens. He would have everything. Like you said, he would have everything. Look, when both Ronaldo and Messi were in La Liga, Messi won more La Liga titles. He has more Ballon d'Ors. He would have the World Cup. Look, people have said all throughout history, the World Cup is the best trophy to win in football. That's it. Like, in terms of a team trophy, it's better than the UCL. It's better than whatever. Messi has plenty of UCLs as well, but it's the World Cup, and he would have it. What more could you have wanted him to do? What more could Messi like? If Messi isn't your GOAT after he wins the World Cup, what more could he have done? And how could you even say that? Because what does some other player have over Messi at that point? What does he have over him? If you're genuinely gonna say that Cristiano Ronaldo is better than Lionel Messi after he wins the World Cup, I don't understand what you're basing it off of. What what statistic or what fucking trophy cabinet are you looking at? I don't quite understand how this could even be a conversation at that point. For me personally, he's already been the GOAT. It's not a debate. And if anything, if we're looking for somebody to potentially surpass him, not that I'm saying it's going to happen, you've got to look towards the youth. You've got to look at
Mm-hmm.
Mbappe. What can he do? Like, is he even going to come close? That's a debate that we might get into here. But Ronaldo, it doesn't have a shot. It's over. Look, he's the second greatest player of all time. And it takes away nothing from Cristiano Ronaldo. I would say the biggest compliment to Ronaldo is the fact that he is compared to Lionel Messi. That's the biggest compliment a player could have. He's been compared to Lionel Messi his whole career.
To be fair, there was
points.
points. Yeah, there was points. Ronaldo was better than Messi. I mean, there was points where, especially Ronaldo has 5 Ballon d'Ors. There was 5 points, 5 seasons where he was better than Messi. But it's just the longevity. I mean, as good as Ronaldo's longevity is, Messi's right now I think is better. I mean, yeah, Ronaldo's 2 years older, but Messi at 35 is doing shit that even if Ronaldo was 35, he wouldn't be doing this. This is stuff he wouldn't be doing in the World Cup, especially in the World Cup. And yeah, it sucks that Ronaldo towards his prime, the team, the Portuguese team that he had around him. I mean, I think they had one guy that was named Bobo or something. Like, dude, he's had like literally nobodies.
Yeah.
But it took into the later point in his career to where he actually had a pretty solid team. But I mean, Messi's teams haven't been spectacular. I think on paper, this Argentina team, purely on paper, like namesake, is pretty average.
Especially compared to Portugal.
Compared to Portugal, this is a very average team. And the Portuguese players can say whatever the fuck they want. They can say, oh, we got an Argentina rep. This shit's rigged. Shut up, man.
You couldn't beat Morocco, man. I mean, no disrespect to Morocco, but you got to beat them.
The dumbest thing I've ever heard ever. That the referee had nothing to do with that game. I mean, especially when we watched the shithousery of the Netherlands Argentina game. That ref needs to take the night off. That he just needs to be done. He needs to be done. He needs to hang it up. But especially like the players that Ronaldo's been given compared to Messi, and I think I think it's somewhat comparable because I mean, especially this World Cup. I mean, on paper, this Portuguese team has better players than Argentina. That's not that's not a lie. That's not. I mean, you just look at player for player. Portugal had a better team, but even 2014's Argentina team, they weren't very good. I mean, they had Di Maria, they had
that's what I was going to say.
Mascherano.
Messi took this 2014 Argentina team to the World Cup final, and ultimately, Mario Götze stood in their way. That if you look back at that starting 11, it wasn't that good.
They're very average teams. Like this team, look, just imagine this Argentina team. If you took Messi out, like, does this team even make the World Cup at all? Do they even qualify?
That's a conversation to be had. We all know how difficult South American World Cup qualifying is.
Yeah,
they might not have made it.
This team is the most this team is the most one player centric team I've ever seen in my whole entire life. Just because the only reason these guys play good is because they're playing for Messi. This is literally the only reason most of these guys even play good, because they don't play like this for their clubs. If they play this for those clubs, we'd see them, all over the Premier League. We see them all over the Champions League. There's a reason this team is playing good, and it's because of one man, and that's Lionel Messi. And this is what Messi's done his entire career. He makes players around him better. And I would say that's a very underrated thing Cristiano Ronaldo does have, that his playmaking has always been somewhat underrated. But let's not get carried away to think that it's anywhere near Messi. Messi makes the players around him better. That's always been his game. That was the reason that Luis Suarez had a golden boot in La Liga for one season, because Messi decided, you know what? I'm just going to give it to you. You can have it. I don't want it. This is the guy that Messi's always been. That's why we saw the best years of Neymar with Messi because
at MSN.
usually when you're paired up with Lionel Messi, he makes you so much better. You can't really say about the same about Cristiano Ronaldo because he kind of takes the show away. That's why
You look
we
at
saw the
Benzema,
flip side. We saw the flip side of that when he left, and we saw Benzema. What we haven't seen this Benzema ever, but when Cristiano Ronaldo's gone, this is when he does good. And it sounds like knocks to Cristiano, but it's just the facts. It's the facts that Messi offers more to a team than really Cristiano does. I mean, I see Cristiano Ronaldo as the greatest goal scoring human being ever. I think there's nobody that's ever been born that can put a ball in a net better than Ronaldo. But Messi is, you could say Ronaldo's 1A to finishing purely, but Messi's 1B. And then you're talking about the guy who's all-time leading in assists, Lionel Messi. And one of the most creative minds, which is Lionel Messi. One of the greatest dribblers of all time, Lionel Messi. I mean, it doesn't really get as far as a well-rounded player than Messi, other than like he's not very good aerial in the air,
but
but
even to be fair to him, some of his most iconic goals have come in the air. You look
like
back
I
at
get Manchester
Manchester
United,
United,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah, and literally, I just don't think it's as close as the debate. I mean, yeah, there was years that Ronaldo was better, but overall, in a whole career debate, like it's just not. To me, it's never been close. But when Messi finally does this and he wins the World Cup, I'm gonna be finally relieved that it's not a conversation. And you don't even have to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, no,
Like
100%. And even look, knock on wood here. Even if they do lose, it doesn't change it for me. I mean, look, he could have not qualified for this World
two
Cup,
two
and he would
World
have made the
Cup,
goat.
yeah. Well, he had two World Cup finals to Ronaldo's none. I
Ronaldo
mean,
has never scored in a knockout stage of game. He never will now. I mean,
he never will. I mean, well, and like to be fair, I mean, even when they won the Euros, he was very good in the Euros, but he didn't play in the final. I mean, like this is stuff that like it's very good. I still give Ronaldo a lot of credit for winning that title for Portugal. I mean, shit, who would have thought Portugal would win anything internationally in Europe, especially in Europe? But he didn't play in that final. I mean,
Adair.
it was Eder. Like, where has that guy gone? Where after
To be fair,
scoring
I
that,
don't even.
I would have
Even
retired. I would have retired after that game anyway. But
I don't even
literally,
know where he plays anymore. I mean, he might have retired by now. I don't know.
but yeah, like when it comes down to that, you can only really give Cristiano a slight in Champions League. He's missed the Champions League. Like, I think he's the greatest player to ever play in the Champions League. It's always been his competition, but Messi's starting to creep up there and catching up in goals. I don't know if he'll catch him in goals, but even
Yeah,
if even if he did, I still think Cristiano is Mr. Champions League
well,
because he's
because
won 5. But
and besides the fact he's won 5, even even if Messi wins another one, he's not at Ronaldo. But then look, Ronaldo, and I take nothing away from him. He's the second greatest player of all time. I'll say it over and over again. But he still has one of the most improbable, mind blowing achievements any individual player and team could ever have. He won 3 Champions Leagues in a row in the modern era. It take like that Real Madrid team led by Cristiano Ronaldo. Like I rooted for them to lose every
every
year,
single
every
year,
year, and
every year,
every year they beat Bayern Munich when they needed to because that was kind of their main threat, and
that
they they
Juventus team in
they, they, they
2017.
they beat Juventus, who I thought I remember celebrating when Juventus scored that goal from Mandzukic, and then they ended
The
up.
Mandzukic goal.
Look, I rooted against this Real Madrid team for so many years, especially mostly because of you're wearing that kit right there. You're a Real Madrid fan. Of course, I wanted them to lose, but he was the talisman of the greatest club team of all time.
Yeah,
So let's take nothing away from Cristiano Ronaldo and the fact that he is Mr. Champions League. Messi, he's done great things in the Champions League, but the last time he was able to win it was with MSN, and obviously
yeah.
he was the talisman of MSN.
And,
But
and it's crazy to think how MSN, in the grand picture of things, they somewhat underperformed. I
they
mean,
did.
when you look at it, I mean, they only won one Champions League, and they were together for what 3 to 4 seasons. And Ronaldo, obviously, he owned that competition. I mean, you said Messi did win more in La Liga than Cristiano, but Cristiano basically owned the Champions League when he's
He
at
did.
Real Madrid. He owned it, and
I think that's one
I
of the
mean,
most mind-blowing stats about Ronaldo is he didn't really win La Liga that many
he
times.
did not win. I think I saw it.
Was it
Hazard has won more La Liga titles than Cristiano Ronaldo.
which
Like, what like Jesus.
absolutely mind-blowing when you really think about it. But
Yeah,
it doesn't take away anything from his career.
yeah, no, because it's crazy to me to think that you know, that Real Madrid team, we talk about they won 3 in a row. Realistically, they were one season away from winning 5 in a row because they won it against Atletico. We remember the Sergio Ramos goal at the last minute, the 90th minute. They won that one. Next season, I believe they lost to Bayern Munich. They lost to Bayern Munich on pens, was it? Or we lost to Dortmund, I believe. We lost because that was the Bayern Dortmund final.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
yeah. No,
we
was that when Dortmund took you out? By I think it was Lewandowski
I
scored
think it was
4 goals.
Lewandowski.
Yeah,
Lewandowski scored. Yeah, he was the one to take us out. And then obviously after that one, we won 3 in a row. We were one season away from winning 5 in a row. 5 Champions Leagues in a row. We won 4 in 5 years. Like it's
it's
and it was all
an
led.
unbelievable run.
It was all led by that one guy, by Cristiano Ronaldo. And I always say he's the clutchest player of all time, clutchest player I possibly ever seen in my entire life, and the greatest goal scorer I've ever seen in my entire life. I've never seen a guy who could put the ball in the back of the net better than Cristiano Ronaldo. But it's no knock on him to say he's the second best player ever. I mean, not a lot of play. There's only one player that can
Only
be
one
the
player
second.
better.
Only one player better than Cristiano. But you know, it's I feel like if that's a knock, then I guess it's a knock.
I'm sure he would take it as a knock, but
You would take it disrespectful, but I
but
I gotta say it.
a fantastic conversation about Messi and Ronaldo's legacy. But another man who is like he's still got a long way to go in his career before we put him up there with these two. But I mean, look, if he wins this game, his resume is getting up there. Kylian Mbappe.
Kylian
So I
Mbappe.
want to get your thoughts, and this is purely hypothetical based on
Yeah, basically.
if he's able to win this match with France.
It's
What
only
would
fair.
what
It's
does
only
this
fair that we talk about it as if he won because we just basically went on for like 30 minutes about like Messi
eh,
has already won it. So I will
yeah.
be yeah.
So if slash when Mbappe wins this World Cup, what does that do for his legacy for you? And does that give him any chance? Look, we're talking way down the line here now,
It's
but
second way down the line.
does it give him any chance at potentially becoming the GOAT or really entering that conversation?
I think I kind of took Mbappe out of the GOAT conversation already. I know it's already like way too young. I took him out of the conversation after that he couldn't win the Champions League final versus Bayern Munich because compared to even because you're getting compared to Messi. Messi had already won a Ballon d'Or and a Champions League at his age at 23. That's something a lot of people forget that Messi already had a Ballon d'Or. He had one at Mbappe's age. That's how much of a head start this guy has. And Messi could possibly win his fucking ninth Ballon d'Or. Like literally,
We didn't
what
even mention that.
it's almost impossible to think anybody could pass this guy. But I mean, if Mbappe can win a second World Cup, I think he's vaulting himself as he's for sure getting in that top 5. I think if he wins a second World Cup, he's pushing Zidane. He's pushing up there to be the best French player ever. I mean that's to me where I'm a little bit closer at. If he wins this game, he'll be up there as you could possibly give it to him as being already one of the best French players ever. At 23, at 24, he's still very very young, but you know he'd have to do a lot to catch up because he hasn't been very good in the Champions League. He's been a bit underwhelming in the Champions League. Going out to a Madrid side that you should have won. I mean, he went out to Madrid twice, and those are very winnable games. I mean, going into those games, especially I think it was 2018 when we played them, they were up 1-0 at the Bernabeu when Rabiot scored. I mean, you had Cavani, you had Neymar, and you had Mbappe. They were all healthy. Like when Madrid played PSG, we played them when they were always fully healthy, and we played them when they had Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe, and we still somehow won. So I think I'm gonna hold that highly against them because he's basically been on super teams almost ever since he joined PSG, and he's still yet to win a Champions League. That to me is a bit head scratching, and I mean, yeah, I'll give him this. He's playing really well in the World Cups. He played well in 2018, and he's playing well now, and he could win back-to-back World Cups. But just for how stacked this France team is, I mean, it's kind of, addicting to say it, but you could kind of slot another player to his caliber. Like if I put Erling Haaland in place of Mbappe, they're doing the same thing. If you put Messi in Mbappe, I mean, Jesus Christ. If you put
Oh my
Ronaldo
god.
in Mbappe's place, like I think if you put there's comparable players to Mbappe that if you switch them out, this France team will do the same thing. Shit. I I think you could almost take out Mbappe, this French team. This French team will still be really, really good. That's how deep this team is. It's tough. It's really tough because it's not. If Messi wins this World Cup, and I know I'm going back to the Messi thing. Messi wins this World Cup now, it's more impressive than Mbappe's last World Cup because how stacked that French team was. Like, there's different levels to this, and I still think Mbappe is really, really far away from this conversation. I mean, we'll probably get into a little bit. If he wins this World Cup, he could win the Ballon d'Or. This could be his first. I mean, I'm talking about. Oh, he hasn't won it yet. This could be the year that he wins it.
Mhm.
But he's got the biggest task in front of him. He has this Argentina team to beat in the World Cup final. And maybe if he wins a World Cup I think he could make me completely eat my words by winning the World Cup, winning the Champions League, and then winning the Ballon d'Or. Already getting a crazy start, but I'm just gonna say that I highly doubt he's gonna win 8 Ballon d'Ors. I don't think that's going to happen. And to me, I hold those very highly. I know you were kind of like, oh, if he wins 2 World Cups and 4 Ballon d'Ors, that's good enough. To me, absolutely not. You're going to have to, maybe get to the 6 to 7 range. You're going to have to at least get 6. You have bare minimum you need 6 to get in that conversation. Messi will have 2 on you, but you need at least 6. But especially running into Mbappe, it's going to get a little more competitive. He's got Erling Haaland now. He's got other guys that are coming up. We have Jude Bellingham possibly. I mean, we have a lot of these guys that are coming up that can be real challenges to the Ballon d'Or. So we're going to see if Mbappe can rule it like Messi did, because if you're going to be the GOAT, you have to rule the Ballon d'Or as Messi did. That it was basically the Messi trophy. The Ballon d'Or, it was the honorary Messi trophy. So
Pretty much, yeah.
that's what it's gonna have to take. But I think this game's gonna really come down to if Mbappe wins the World Cup, he's more in the conversation. Is he the best French player ever?
So just for clarification, like you don't really think anyone can overtake Messi unless they get pretty much the same amount of Ballon d'Ors?
I think you would need at least six or seven. Me
So
personally,
more than Ronaldo. More than Ronaldo.
Yeah, you need more than Ronaldo. Ronaldo has 5. You need more than Ronaldo.
See, my thing with that, look, I'm not saying for me personally because we all know where I stand on this, but some people think Ronaldo is the GOAT right now, and he doesn't have anywhere near as many Ballon d'Ors. So I think my kind of point with that is he's gonna have to win a lot of Ballon d'Ors. Don't get me wrong; he's gonna have to have 5, 6, 7, whatever. Which is he going to do that? I don't know, but he doesn't necessarily have to get 8 or 9 to overtake Messi or tie him or anything like that to be in the conversation or potentially overtake him because of what else he would have on his resume to make up for that. Now, look, I think it would be very difficult to overtake Messi because of how consistent you have to be, how healthy you have to be, and how good your teams around you have to be for your pretty much your entire career. And look, Messi, he's the greatest player of all time, but he did walk into the greatest situation of all time. I mean, look, when he first got into Barcelona, he's over here got Ronaldinho taking him under his wing, and then he has maybe not anymore the greatest midfield trio, but at the time, the greatest midfield trio of all time with Iniesta, Xavi, and Busquets. And I don't know exactly. You can't really factor that in per se, and now obviously, we made a video on the channel talking about Kroos, Modric, Casemiro potentially overtaking them, being the best. But Messi walked into a great situation. I mean, when you look back, you hinted at how it was basically the Messi trophy for all of those years. Well, who finished second and third? It was pretty much Xavi and Iniesta, and then Ronaldo a couple times he got in there. Look, it was pretty much you like every year. We looked at the rankings, just a few days ago. It was Xavi, Iniesta, they were always right up in there as well. So it just so happens Messi walked into a golden situation, and it allowed him to be as good as he was, and it basically showcased how good he really was. Mbappe, look, he plays for a great team, and he kind of
I
always
think it
has.
will. It's
But
not
I
the
don't think you
exact
can
same. Yeah.
compare. I don't think you can compare like that Barca team that Messi was playing for. Look, I'm not. Should he have won more and potentially won a Champions League by now with PSG? Yes, but you can't compare this PSG team to that Barca team. I don't think. This just not
Yeah.
really. If they
I mean,
play,
other than for 1 year he literally had Messi on his team, but
yeah,
I think that they were still heavy favorites going into almost every single Champions League run that they did.
100%. And like I said, he should have won one by now, especially with these PSG teams. It more comes down to can PSG eventually break this curse. If they can't win it this year, I don't know, but that's a story for another time. All things considered, Mbappe, he has a chance. Is he going to do it? I don't know. That we know the story is not yet written, but he definitely has a chance. I think at winning the second World Cup. First of all, the perfect comparison. I think for the American audience is comparing it to Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. They played in the Super Bowl. Brady got the better of Mahomes. Mahomes really can't. He would have to do a lot to overtake Brady. Mbappe would win his second World Cup, and he beat the GOAT. He's setting himself up so that when you look back down the line on what his legacy was, when we're still talking about when Mbappe's 35, the same age as Messi, when we're looking back on what Mbappe accomplished, and we're saying who's better, Mbappe or Messi, 2022, they played in the World Cup final, and Mbappe won. And if Mbappe puts on a show, puts on a masterclass, scores 2 goals or whatever, there you go. That's what's going to be remembered. So there is a chance. He's going to have to win a lot of Ballon d'Ors. He's going to have to win more than Ronaldo. I agree with that. And I think he's going to have to prove the doubters wrong and do something actually in the Champions League because all things considered, he hasn't done it in the Champions League, really. He
But
obviously.
but another caveat to that, if he does do something in the Champions League, you're also kind of adding on to Messi. I mean, you win another Champions League, Messi wins another one as well.
It's
So it's
unfortunate because they're on the same team now, yeah.
yeah.
But like let's just say they're able to win it this year. Obviously, that does help out Messi as well. So it's a little bit tough. I think that's why and we'll probably talk about this as another talking point. But that's why I think this match is so important because if let's just say PSG do win the Champions League this year, it's going to come down to who wins this match for the Ballon d'Or, in my opinion. We'll talk about that maybe more in depth, but that's what it is. And Messi gets another Ballon d'Or. He wins the Champions League, wins the World Cup, all in the same year. I mean, signed, sealed, delivered. I don't think Mbappe has a realistic chance anymore. Like we're talking about 35-year-old Messi and winning another Champions League to add to his resume, winning another World Cup Golden Ball, potentially winning a Golden Boot. I
We didn't
mean,
even really talk about that. Yeah.
there's like nothing more. So that's why this game is so crucial because I don't think Mbappe is necessarily sitting here thinking like, oh, I got to win this game so I can become the GOAT. I think he just wants to win the game. But for his GOAT debate, he has to win this game.
Yeah.
If Messi wins this over him, they're going to have like Mbappe might go on later on in his career, win another World Cup because this France team is going to still be good in 2026, 2030. They're going to be good.
It won't matter.
But it'll be like he's gonna have to do so much, and besides the fact they're gonna be tied on World Cups, and even if Mbappe does get the second one and it's 2-1, that's not gonna be enough. Now, if it's 2-0 with the World Cups and Mbappe can potentially go on and tie Pele's record of 3, and he wins 6 Ballon d'Ors, and he wins, I don't know, 4 or 5 Champions Leagues, then and also he keeps up with the consistent goals, and he's able to potentially have some record-breaking seasons per se. You can throw his hat in the ring. I don't know if he's ever going to be able to truly do it. If because a lot would have to go right,
A lot has to go right.
but it's not over. It's like if he wins this game, it's not over. He definitely has a shot. because we don't know exactly what this next generation of football is going to look like. We're like, unfortunately, it's kind of getting to the end here of the Mbappe or the Messi Ronaldo era, and Mbappe is the leader of this new generation. Is Mbappe going to be able to take this new generation by the scruff of the neck and win all those Ballon d'Ors and dominate like Messi was able to do? Or is it going to be highly contested? Is Haaland going to get a couple? Is Jude Bellingham going to get a couple? What's exactly going to happen? That remains to be seen. And that's what is going to truly kind of determine Mbappe's fate in the GOAT race. But look, my final point, if he's able to win this game, he's going to give himself a very good shot to be able to do so. Because I think I would be shocked at this point if he isn't able to win 5-6 Ballon d'Ors. Because if he wins this game, I think he's got one pretty much signed, sealed, delivered, wrapped up. So he has a chance, but look, if I'm a betting man, I'm saying he's not going to do it, but he has a chance, and it's obviously huge for his legacy and his chance at becoming the GOAT.
Yeah, it's most of the same points. Yeah, that I think I do still kind of think that there's no chance, but with it's football. You never truly really know because, I mean, obviously knocking on whatever, but Mbappe could get injured. I mean, he could.
That's exactly.
We've
That's
we've
it's
never
about
really
consistency.
seen we've never really seen Ronaldo or Messi sit out for almost a season. We've never seen them really miss more than like what, half a season. It's you have to like really go deep in like small points where they miss a couple games here and there, but the consistency of both those guys it's unparalleled. And will Mbappe even be around when he's 35? Will Mbappe be able to possibly win a Ballon d'Or like
At
Messi could right
35.
now at 35? I mean, it's stuff
Well,
that you're not going to see.
we won't know for a very long time, what the answer to that question is. Um, I think it's look, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. Obviously, I think if he's going to have any chance, it all comes down to Sunday. So we'll see what
This
happens.
Sunday.
But
Sunday.
I think, uh, I alluded to this during some of my points, and I think it's a good question to ask here. So I think we know my answer here, but I'll touch on it again. But for you, does the winner of this World Cup final between France and Argentina decide who will win this year's Ballon d'Or?
I think it has to because purely down to the fact that both the players that are in contention for the Ballon d'Or play on the same team. And if PSG do poorly, they don't win. I mean, both of them do poorly. So, I mean, it's going to come down to this game, who plays the best. And you know, it'd be almost really kind of improbable to see, maybe let's say Messi loses the World Cup and PSG win the Champions League and Messi wins the Ballon d'Or. I doubt it, but it does come down to who wins this game because Messi or Mbappe could not even score in this final. But it just comes down to who's on the winning side, and I would say it's going to come down to who wins this final to who decides who gets the Ballon d'Or.
Like I 100% agree. I said it earlier in my points. I think that these are the two main contenders as of right now for the Ballon d'Or. I can't think of anyone else who really even has a sniff at it right now. If we're looking at Benzema, he hasn't been playing this season.
Hasn't been fit,
He's been
yeah.
injured. I mean, who even else are we putting in the ring here? Off the top of my head, who even has been good enough to even be around these two in terms of the conversation? I don't even.
Erling Haaland.
It would take a lot for Holland. I think Holland
You
would
have to win the Champions
have
League,
to win
yeah.
the Premier League. He'd have to continue on his form, and he
Yeah,
would have to win the Champions
to
League.
be fair, if he breaks that Salah's record for the Premier League and wins the Champions League, it'd be. I mean, breaking that record would be crazy, but
It would.
that it does
That's
feel a
probably
little. It feels
that's probably
shitty.
third place right now.
It feels shitty because he doesn't play for a very good nation, so it's kind of like but you know, back to
Yeah,
the
it's a
final.
good point because obviously Holland has had a almost record-breaking start to this Premier League season. It's kind of gotten maybe forgotten a little bit now because the World Cup is
It's been
taking
so far,
precedent. It seems so long ago since the club football has even been happening,
yeah.
but you kind of forget about how good Holland was playing. And you make a good point. If Man City are able to win the Premier League and he's able to lead them to their first Champions League, he's going to have a hat in the ring. It's going to be there's a debate to be had that he should win the Ballon d'Or at that point. But I mean, for me personally, I don't know if I see that happening. Man City, they could win the Champions League. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, they haven't done it in their history.
I
So
mean, I think they're pure bottlers in the Champions
am
League.
I
So
am I sitting here
I'm not gonna I'm not putting any
gun to
stock
my
into that one.
gun to my head? Am I saying Man City will win the Champions League? Look, if it's take Man City or take the field, I'm taking the field.
Taking the field.
It's simple as that. So I think I 100% agree. It comes down to this match because are PSG going to win it either? I don't know,
I
but
don't know.
it doesn't matter. If whoever wins this game is going to have that World Cup, and the World Cup it's the most prestigious trophy or a team could win, but also a player almost could win because of just how highly regarded it is. It involves all these other nations. It cements yourself as the world champions. And I think they obviously take that into a very high regard when they're choosing their winner. And it doesn't take much for Messi to win the Ballon d'Or. I mean, they love giving Messi the Ballon d'Or. We've seen him win it in potentially years when he shouldn't have won it. When Lewandowski potentially should have won it. So I think, God forbid, he wins the World Cup. Look, if Messi wins the World Cup on Sunday, he's already got the Ballon d'Or. I don't care if he doesn't play another game for PSG. They're giving him the Ballon d'Or. It's just what it is. Obviously, he's going to continue to play. He's going to put up great numbers. That's only going to help his case. And it kind of goes the same way for Mbappe. He wins this World Cup. Obviously, it's just based on the individual season at hand here. He obviously would have had one of the most unbelievable World Cup runs that a player could have. Because if they win this World Cup, I would assume he probably wins Golden Boot. He's going to end up getting the Golden Ball. I mean, he's basically sweeping the major awards. And all things considered, how could you not give him the Ballon d'Or? He's going to do well for PSG in the league. And then even if he's able to do somewhat well in the Champions League, let's say he takes it to the semifinal, maybe a final, whatever, that's going to be good enough.
Yeah.
If they flame out in the Champions League, let's say, they bottle the same thing happened when Barca played PSG that one time, and
Oh God,
if something like that happened again, it's not going to. But if it did, maybe that would hurt his case. But all things considered, I don't see somebody else having a better case than whoever wins this game. Haaland maybe is the only one that has a shot in the dark, I would say.
Yeah. I said that mostly out of just like acknowledgement, but I don't fancy City in Champions League football. I don't. I'm not.
And potentially for the same reason you don't fancy City, you probably don't fancy PSG either, besides the fact of the players that they have.
Yeah.
But I guess the final points, just some simple predictions, and then I think I would have wrapped up everything I particularly wanted to talk about with this final. Obviously, we could sit here and talk about this final for days because of all the storylines and all the talking points and everything that comes with the World Cup final. I mean, it only happens every 4 years, so who doesn't love talking about it? But final predictions here. I think we both know what we're going to pick here, but for the sake of argument, who will win the Golden Boot between Messi and Mbappe?
I mean, to be fair, you can't throw out Julian Alvarez, and you can't really throw out Giroud. I mean, who's saying Giroud?
To be fair, you can't.
It's still kind of somewhat up there, but I think from what I've seen, Argentina have usually able to draw a couple pens. I think they'll be able to get a pen in this final, and I think Messi's going to score. I mean, as much as it's a Pessi. I mean, he's scoring a lot of pens this World Cup, but I mean, you get fouled in the box. I mean, you might as well. So I think surprisingly, Messi's going to edge this out. I think he's going to score in this final, and I don't know if Mbappe will score.
And even if he does, if they're tied,
and I think Messi's going to edge it out, just barely going to edge it out.
And we'll do both at the same time here. Golden Ball. What do you think?
Golden Ball. Oh, Messi.
And,
Messi.
and we saw this in 2014 where he lost the final and still got golden ball. So do you
I
think that's the case, or
I think he still wins Golden Ball, even if
even if France wins? So
P-
Mbappe has
yeah,
no chance.
yeah. I don't think Mbappe has a chance. No, just because when you look at Messi's match ratings through this entire World Cup, like I said, none of them have been below 8, 8.0 out of 10. I mean, he's just been so consistently, and I think he has what 5 man of the matches,
The most in the World Cup.
most in the World Cup. So yeah, I mean, you can't really you can't say that he's not the Golden Ball winner. I mean that's just what he's won that. That's his. I mean, as much as I could say Mbappe is the best player in the world right now, Messi's been having a bit better performances here and there, especially in his matchups. Like, because a lot of teams are suppressing Mbappe, but Messi has been able to, show out against, the teams that he's played against. So I think I think he'll win Golden Ball.
Yeah, look, for me, first things for Golden Ball. Uh, look, I 100% agree. I think, look, you can make the argument that if Mbappe has a masterful performance in the final, that he does win himself the Golden Ball. But that would take, I think, like a 2 goal performance or something like that, that really, cements himself as, oh my God, like, then you get a little bit of that bias, and he kind of was the best player on the best team that won it all. Then he gets the Golden Ball. But if I had to give a prediction, I think Messi wins the Golden Ball. Potentially either way, even if they loses, I think when you look at the definition of what the Golden Ball is, it's the best player in the tournament, and Messi has been the best player in this tournament. When you whatever you want to look at it, what metric, goal contributions, goals and assists, match rating, just the eye test, whatever you want to look at, he's been the best player. So you have to give Golden Ball to Messi for me. And then Golden Boot prediction, I wouldn't have never guessed this because I didn't think that he was going to score enough to even be in this conversation. We said it at the start of the tournament, you're going to need 5 to 6 goals to win the Golden Boot. And here Messi is sat on 5 goals. And I think he's going to win the Golden Boot. I think it's very likely that both of these guys could score in this match. And it's very likely that Mbappe could score in this match and France still lose, and then he ends up winning the Golden Boot. But I would expect if Argentina are able to win this game, I don't think it's going to be a 1-0. I don't think it's going to be a grinded out game. There's going to be goals to be had in this game, like we said in our prediction. And I find it unfathomable that Argentina scored 2 to 3 goals and Messi doesn't get one. Where would the goals come from? What, I don't know. Like, what is DePaul scoring a banger or something?
Paul scoring.
McAllister, is Julian Alvarez getting a hat trick? Like,
He's
if
getting.
Messi
Oh my God.
if Messi isn't scoring at least 1 goal when I think they're scoring 3, I first of all, if somebody told me Messi isn't scoring in the final guaranteed, I wouldn't pick Argentina to win. I wouldn't pick him. I wouldn't pick him to score 3 goals because where's the goals coming from? The team is built around him. The playmaking in the final third, it's centered around him. And he has the ball in these crucial areas to whether it's to play the final pass to get the assist or take the shot himself and score. So I think he's going to have the chances to score. And who am I to bet on him missing? And, like this guy, he's on the form of his life right now for a 35-year-old. And I think he's probably going to win the Golden Boot. But to be fair, I could see Mbappe scoring a goal in this match and Messi getting 2 assists or something. And then Mbappe takes the Golden Boot, but I don't think Messi particularly cares. I think we all know what he wants.
Yeah, yeah. I would agree on all those points.
Yeah. So, look, any final words about the final in general? Thoughts? Anything? Any words? I think there's always a lot you could say.
I think for right now, I think I said everything that that comes to mind when thinking about this matchup at this moment, and I'm just more, just waiting for this game to happen. I'm just sitting here waiting. I'm wanting it to be tomorrow. I hate the waiting. I hate the anticipation. It's going to be a tough build up, but I think I'm ready just to watch this game.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think that it's something. It sucks that we have to wait this long to for it to happen. I think we would all love it to be tomorrow morning when we wake up. We
Oh
watch
God.
this match because everyone cannot wait. I can't wait. You can't wait. Everyone that is loving the sport doesn't even watch the sport. They are all waiting for this match in anticipation. I think it's going to live up to the hype. It's going to be the match of dreams. It's going to be something that we tell our kids about, our grandkids. This is something that when we're looking back through the history of time, this is a point in time where you circle and you say, this was history right here. And it is going to be history. Either way, whichever
Either
way it
way,
goes,
yeah, either
whichever
way.
way it goes, it is going to be history. And it's going to be something that is talked about for generations to come. And anytime a moment like that is happening, you have to sit back and just appreciate it for what it is. Because I think that's exactly what this moment is. And it is going to be a spectacle. It's going to be a spectacle.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But without further ado, we can go ahead and move away from the World Cup for the second to last time. This is, obviously we'll do another episode here talking
One
about
last episode.
our reaction to the final when it does happen. We'll get we're gonna get that up Sunday right after the match happens. If we're live, then we'll just do it live. I don't know exactly what we're gonna do. We'll figure that out. But this is the final time we're segueing away from the World Cup and onto American football. So I think you just gotta
Oh
appreciate
God.
this moment in podcast history here.
It'd be
But
we had to wait another 4 years until it's back
exactly,
in the States.
exactly, and then we'll probably be doing a lot of things with that. But look, without further ado, let's go ahead and just segue this to American football. And look, I think a lot of things didn't go our way. In American football, this
Didn't look good.
it didn't. But hold up here. Let me get my here we go schedule here. Okay, so NFL Week 15 pick'em. We've done the pick'em. We're almost at the end of the season here.
Almost at the end here.
We are almost at the end of the season, and we only got a couple more weeks. And to be fair, I can't wait for the playoffs because it'll give us more, potential
Love the
championships to
playoffs.
talk about. Look, we love the World Cup because we get that trophy at the end. Look, it's the end of the NFL season. I can't wait to see who's going to win the Super Bowl. That's obviously a conversation to be had another day. But if you're ready, I'm ready to get into our Week 15 NFL pick'em.
I'm ready.
Week 15 NFL pick'em. Let's go. 49ers versus Seahawks. Give me the 49ers.
Give me the 49ers.
Colts versus Vikings. Give me the Vikings.
I got the Vikings.
Ravens versus Browns. Give me the Browns.
I'm taking the Browns.
Dolphins versus Bills. Give me the Miami Dolphins.
What are we talking about here? It's the Bills.
Eagles versus Bears. Give me the Eagles.
I'll take the Eagles.
Lions versus Jets. I'll take the Jets.
I'll take the Jets.
Steelers versus Panthers. I'll take the Steelers here.
I'll take the Panthers.
Chiefs versus Texans. I'll take the Chiefs.
My God, I'll take the Chiefs.
Falcons versus Saints. I'll take the Falcons.
I'll take the Saints.
Cowboys versus Jags. I'll take the Cowboys.
I'll take the Cowboys.
Cardinals versus Broncos. I'll take the Cardinals.
Oh my God, this
Even
game,
without Kyler Murray.
Jesus. I'll take the Cardinals.
Patriots versus Raiders. I'll take the Patriots.
I'll take the Raiders.
Titans versus Chargers. I'll take the Chargers.
I'll take the Titans.
Bengals versus Bucks. Give me the Bengals.
Shit, this is the hardest one, bro. Give me the Buccaneers.
Oh my God. Giants
the
versus
Bucks.
Commanders. Give me the Commanders.
I'll take the Commanders, yeah.
Rams versus Packers. Jesus, this might be the worst Monday Night Football game
Oh
of
my
all
God.
time. I guess I'll take the Packers here, but this might be a 0-0 draw.
Packers. Okay, I'll take the Packers.
look, some of these matchups are absolutely disgraceful. I mean, oh my God, Rams Packers Monday Night Football. Who's making the
Bro,
schedule, man? I mean, oh my
it's
God.
well,
I guess the
who would have known? Yeah, who would have known these teams would have been so bad by this time?
I
Who would have
guess
thought?
yeah. To be fair, they thought that would be a primetime big matchup, but here we are, and it's the exact opposite. I'm not even watching that, to be honest. All things
Bro,
considered.
yeah, like another one, Cardinals Broncos. By God, that's gonna be the worst game of football I think I've ever seen in my whole entire life.
Yeah, especially now that Kyler Murray is
Like,
injured,
yeah,
and
because Kyler Murray's injured. Oh
quite
my
unfortunate
God.
non-contact ACL injury.
Yeah, it's
Obviously,
a ACL
ho-
tore. He tore his ACL.
hopefully he's able to speedy recovery on that because when you have an ACL injury so late in the season, it starts to affect next season. So
Yeah, because it's
hopefully
such
he'll
a
be able to
yeah,
play week 1 next season. Obviously, if
yeah.
he's not, I don't know exactly what's going to happen with him. I think the Cardinals they gave him that big money contract, so they're banking
At
on
least
him.
he got his money. At least he got his money. Lamar, bro. Dude, if you're Lamar Jackson, you're watching this shit, bro. What? My God,
You got
I
to get
wouldn't
your
play it.
money.
Got to get your money now.
Like if I'm Lamar, especially seeing this, it's like, come on, you can't risk it. You're gonna
Can't
play on a
risk it no
franchise. You're
more.
gonna play on the franchise tag.
Yeah,
Nah,
God no. God no, don't
but
do that.
I think look, there's only a couple matchups here that really wanted to break down and give a good preview of here. First things first, and this is a Saturday night football game. Saturday night football.
Saturday night.
Um, First of all, I love having a nice Saturday set of games here. More football. Who's complaining? Um, so we get to watch this right the night before we watch Messi hoist up the World Cup. So Dolphins versus Bills.
My God.
This is a intriguing game. I'm sure you want me to talk about this first, so I'll go ahead and get straight into it. This is a not exactly how I would have hoped the Dolphins would be coming into this game. They are limping into this game. To be fair, they're not even limping. I think they're just
They're rolling.
yeah, exactly. They can't even limp anymore after these two
They're
performances
hobbling.
we've just seen. You know, absolutely dismantled by both the 49ers and the Chargers back to back weeks. And, this was a primetime game we're talking about with the Chargers, and a game that the Chargers are not that good of a football team, all things considered. They were really banged up, and it was a game we had to win. I think we had to win it, for not only the team morale and confidence, but it was just not a good football team. But this is the team that we're kind of fighting with in the playoff standings. The Chargers are still they're one game back of us now, but they have the tiebreaker. So if we end up tied at the same record, they're gonna overtake us in the standings. So that's a game that we needed to win, and quite honestly, we absolutely flopped in the game. It was a terrible performance. It was we were lucky to even be as close as we were in the game. I mean, Tua 10 completed passes.
Yeah, another nightmare performance from
It,
Tua.
it it was a nightmare. It was a disgrace. Mike McDaniel got out coached by a guy I've said on this podcast is a fraud over and over. Brandon Staley. I still think he's not a great coach, but he out coached Mike McDaniel in that game, and you have to give him credit for that. But look, moving forward, this is not the ideal circumstances, and we're talking about a team like the Dolphins coming off of 2 consecutive losses. And this is a team that, all things considered, has no real experience playing meaningful games come January and December. We're in mid December, we're getting closer to late December here. There's not many players on this roster outside of Tyreek Hill that have experience playing in these meaningful games. And this is not the way you want to be getting into these games with such bad form. But with that being said, everything I've said would it signal a Dolphins loss. We're on terrible form, no confidence. We're in Buffalo, but that's exactly why I'm picking the Dolphins to win this game.
Oh my God.
Surely, look, the last time these two teams played, the Bills, they should have won the game. They dominated. It was the biggest anomaly in maybe even NFL history. They basically tripled the Dolphins in time of possession. They had the ball on the 2-yard line, and Josh Allen underthrew his receiver, which is something you really never. I don't even know if he's ever underthrown his guy in his life outside of this game. So it was the biggest anomaly you could think of in the NFL, but it still happened. And I find it hard to believe that Mike McDaniel and this Dolphins staff is going to be not able to figure this out. They've been figured out to a certain extent. Their offense has been basically shut down these last 2 weeks. It's looked abysmal. But this is an offensive guru. This is an offensive genius. This is why he's the Dolphins head coach in the first place, is because of how good of an offensive mind he is. I find it hard to believe that this offense is going to be shut down for 3 consecutive weeks. I think, the Bills defense, similar to the Chargers, it's not full strength. It's not where they would, want to be or where we thought they would be necessarily. I think that pretty much, I think the Dolphins will be able to figure it out. They're going to come in this game with a new game plan. They're going to try some new things. And ultimately, I think they're going to work. Tua is not going to play as bad as he's been playing.
Is
I,
he?
I don't think so. I mean,
That's what I thought last week.
I don't think this guy, look, people are saying that he's officially a fraud now because of this.
Officially a fraud.
Like, he's played so well this season and in the other games that, like, you would, like, is this just the regression back to what he was, or is he going to figure it out? I think he figures it out. And I think Tyreek Hill continues to do what Tyreek Hill is going to do. Hopefully, the ankle injury that he suffered last game doesn't play too much of a role. I don't think it will. I think he'll be fine. And all things considered, give me the Dolphins in this game. They're just not going to play as bad as they've played in the previous games. They're just not. There's no way. Right? There's no way. Maybe that's just my fandom, my false hope here.
You say there's no way, but I see there being a very big way. This is not what anybody called for. The Bills is not the team you want to be playing after coming off those two abysmal performances, after some of the most uninspiring football I've ever seen from a quarterback from Tua. Tua, I don't know if maybe they're gonna have to need to make a highlight reel of 100 plays to get him out of this funk. I mean, if 70 didn't do it, you're gonna need maybe 100 to 200, because God, that didn't help. That did not help. I mean, it could come down to the fact, Tyreek got a little banged up last game. Jalen Waddle hasn't looked like 100%. I mean, it took him like what to damn near past halftime.
It was in like the fourth quarter.
Yeah, like for him to get an actual target. I mean, like it's starting not to look that good on the offensive side, and that's really what the main Dolphins' weapon. I mean, they're not a very good defensive team by any standards. I mean, their offense is their defense. I mean, realistically, they're almost coming down to, unfortunately, their offense is looking like it's Tyreek or bust. I mean, is Tyreek going to make some crazy play and score for us? Is he going to get some weird, like backyard football, like
Rugby.
weird fumble rugby style play again to score a touchdown, or like one blown coverage? Is that what it's going to take? And I just don't think you're going to win a lot of football games like that. That's not how you're going to win. And I think we could be seeing the regression of Tua to back to what he is. I mean, we might have just kind of been seeing, just a small stretch of Tua playing better than what he actually is. And I don't think, we kind of jumped on a little before that, he could be MVP. After we made that MVP video, by God, he fell off. This guy jumped out of the bandwagon and just decided, you know what, I'm gonna be regular Tua.
He baited me in.
He baited you in. He brought you in. As soon as he had you in, he decided to just jump off and say, you know what, I don't want this no more. It's not me. And he's not him. It's not what Tua is. Not that guy, man. He's just not it. I mean, yeah, he can read it, but I just don't think he has, he doesn't have that it. I think a lot of it was carried by, having, Tyreek Hill, who, I think overall has really been the MVP of this team. He's been the best player on this team. And you have Jalen Waddle. It's like your dad said. I mean, you could have me at quarterback, and I could throw to Tyreek Hill. It's Tyreek Hill. So I mean, it's tough for Tua right now, and it's tough for the Dolphins, and I just don't see them, having a much easier time against definitely the Buffalo Bills. I mean, we know how good this Bills team is. I mean, I had them go into the Super Bowl before the season started. I still have them. I mean, they're the only part of my Super Bowl, picks that are still looking good right now. So
Uh,
I'm gonna, me, I could be from Miami, but I can't like pick against the Bills. I mean, it's the Bills, so I think Josh Allen's gonna, make up for the last performance he had against his team.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that is worrying to a certain extent is that I know a lot of these Bills players have this one circled.
Oh God.
They want their revenge for what happened last time they played down in South Florida, and that might not spell good things. All things considered, I had to pick them. Of course, I was going to pick them, but yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how this game plays out. I still consider the Dolphins a good football team. They're going to make the playoff. Well, I mean, hopefully they're going to make the playoffs. I mean, they might, if they keep losing, bro, they might not be making the
Oh
playoffs here.
God.
But um, it's it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I mean, all things considered, this might decide who wins the division. If the Dolphins win this game, they're right back in the AFC East number one spot. And if they were able to win the rest of their games, which they'd be playing the Jets, the Patriots, the Packers, but they should win out. They should win those games. They win the division, so they have a chance here if they are able to pull this off in Buffalo to win the division. Um, is it going to happen? I picked it, so I guess I'm rolling with it here. But Josh Allen, he's always gonna be tough to stop. You can't necessarily always you can force him into some mistakes here and there, but you're not gonna stop him necessarily. It's you can't stop great players. You have to just try to neutralize them.
I mean, if he's a fraud, shouldn't you be able to stop him? If he's a
I,
fraud,
he's a fraud considering he's
I
not.
guess he's a
Look,
fraud.
he's not the
Uh,
MVP.
if you can't stop frauds, then well, I mean, what does that really mean for your
But
entire
no,
team
the
then?
reason why Josh Allen is a fraud is because they're saying, oh well, he was the MVP like all season long before he kind of started playing ass. Oh, this guy's the MVP. He's the greatest quarterback in this generation. He's better than Mahomes.
No, uh, I mean, the greatest quarterback of the generation. I think no one was going as far as saying that, but from how
Well,
you
no,
made
but
it
I'm,
seem,
I'm
how
not
from how
considering
you made it
Tom
seem,
Brady is like the prior generation per se.
yeah,
Like
oh
the
yeah, well,
younger,
yeah,
the new
I,
wave.
I didn't think you were saying he was better than Tom Brady there, but what I'm saying is from what you made it seem is Josh Allen is not even he's not even a top five quarterback. How you made it seem, how
I
you
mean,
made it
look.
portray that he's not a
Well,
top
hold on,
five
hold on.
quarterback. That he is.
Mahomes, Lamar, Burrow.
Lamar.
I'm taking Lamar.
Lamar over Josh Allen.
Of course.
What? On what basis?
I mean, but he's injured right now, but it's Lamar, bro. Like, this man has never had the weapons that Josh Allen has had.
Okay. So Patrick Mahomes,
Lamar,
Lamar.
Joe Burrow.
Is this in order or just no particular
No. It's
order?
just no particular order.
Okay.
And then look,
Joe Burrow.
you could make the argument you could make the argument that you're taking Justin Herbert right now.
What?
Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert.
I mean, Justin Herbert, bro. What? He's bad.
Justin Herbert. Dude, weren't we just talking about this guy, he's about to miss the playoffs again. He about to miss the playoffs again. No, that's not even a conversation. No, get that one out of here, dude. I don't even want to hear that one. How are you not even? Are we talking about current right now? And you haven't talked about Jalen Hurts?
I slipped my mind, but come on, yeah, exactly. There you go, Jalen Hurts.
Okay, so it'd go like Patrick Mahomes, yeah, Lamar, yeah, give it there. Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen.
So then he's number 5. He's a fraud.
We just said it's no particular order. We just said it's no particular order. Look, if we're actually gonna order them up,
then put it in order.
Okay, put them order. I got right now best quarterback in the league, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, and then what? Lamar.
So then he's number 4. So then he's number 4.
Yeah, but dude, how you made it seem like that he wasn't a top 5 at all. How you made it seem, how you portrayed it is that he wasn't even close to top 5. And if you had him there, it's ridiculous and it's not even close. Look, when it comes down to 1 through 4, it's give or take on the day. It's some days when they go against, like me personally, if it came down to it, me personally, I like Josh Allen more than Patrick Mahomes. But obviously,
based on what?
But based on just the pure fact that I just like, I think Patrick Mahomes though is a little bit more of like He has Travis Kelce. To be fair, he has Travis Kelce.
He's
And
Stephon Diggs.
it's Stephon Diggs, Travis Kelce.
He's Stephon Diggs. He's one of the best receivers in the league.
Is he the greatest tight end ever? Quote unquote, the greatest tight end ever.
Look, Travis Kelce is a tight end that plays basically a wide receiver that plays tight end. Receiver.
Look, and I believe I didn't check. I think Patrick Mahomes has more picks than Josh Allen.
They have the same amount.
The same amount. Look, so you can't even say that. Okay. I'm just saying that personally. I'm just saying personally, I like Josh Allen more than Patrick Mahomes, but I still give it to Patrick that he's having a better season than Josh Allen right now. But I just still think it's a close margin. It's not like, oh, Patrick's right here and Josh Allen's all the way down here. It's not like that. No, what movie is shit? And I'm not gonna let you get up here and say, oh yeah. Josh Allen, it's hard to stop great players.
It is hard to stop.
You said he's a fraud. You said he was a fraud. You should stop a fraud.
Have we or have we not just said that Josh Allen is top 5 in the league?
I basically had to squeeze it out of you, man. You're ready to throw every name in the book till you ran out of them.
The reason why I say Josh Allen is a fraud.
If I asked you this 2 weeks ago, you would have said Tua. I don't want to hear this bullshit.
The reason why Josh Allen is a fraud, I said this before and I say it now, is because people thought he was the number 1. They thought he was better than Patrick Mahomes. And he is not. That's why he's a fraud. He is not number 1. People thought he was the MVP. People thought he was better than Patrick Mahomes. When Patrick Mahomes has done nothing but beat Josh Allen when it matters. So Josh Allen is a fraud because he was getting so overrated and so overhyped. It doesn't take away from the fact that he's a very good quarterback, and there's a reason why the Bills are a good team. There's a reason why he puts up good numbers to a certain extent, although he sometimes does, mess up in the big games and mess up in the big moments, such as the fourth quarter and clutch drives here and there. He does mess up in those moments. Look back at the Jets game. He basically lost in that game. But, you could cherry pick games by every quarterback. He's a good quarterback, but he's not as good as people thought he was because people thought he was number 1. He will never be better than Patrick Mahomes. Never. If Patrick Mahomes is playing, he's better than Josh Allen. Simple as, Josh Allen is not.
It's easy to say that now.
Josh Allen is not magically going to just be better than Patrick Mahomes because Mahomes is not regressing. He's not getting any worse. And Josh Allen, what is he going to do?
Josh Allen's not getting any worse either.
What is Josh Allen going to do that's going to overtake him? He's like, there's nothing.
Of course, what do you mean there's nothing?
There's nothing.
There's literally a lot. Because look, they're both quarterbacks that tend to turn the ball over more. It depends who tends to tighten that up a little bit more. Who can throw less interceptions, and who's to say Josh Allen can't do that quicker than Mahomes?
I know Josh Allen can't do that.
I know he can do that because Patrick Mahomes has also made a career of throwing these highlights. He's still that guy to try and chase those highlight plays, but he plays with fire when it comes to making these throws. That's like, Patrick, what were you throwing at? Look,
Josh Allen does the same thing.
Not to the extent of Patrick Mahomes. Not to the extent of Patrick Mahomes. Look, when have we seen? I've seen Patrick Mahomes throw more ill-advised throws, but I've seen him throw a lot of ill-advised throws that somehow come out to work. I've seen him throw, but
we've seen Josh Allen do similar plays.
We don't hold the ones against Patrick Mahomes when they turn out good, but I, in a way, do because it's like Patrick Mahomes, you're playing with fire. You're pulling off you're throwing these throws that are ill-advised, but at a point that you're going to hit a bad route where they're all not going to work. That's why I think I like Josh Allen's trajectory more than Patrick Mahomes. Look, Patrick Mahomes is better right now. Yeah, he's better right now. Statistically, you have to give it to Patrick Mahomes. He's in the MVP race when I thought Josh Allen would be. But I think it's way too early to say, oh no, there's never going to be a point to where Josh Allen's better than Patrick Mahomes because they're both so young.
I don't see a point when it happens.
Oh,
I don't. I genuinely don't.
That's just Dolphin hate, dude. You're a fucking Dolphin hater.
I'm a Dolphin hater.
You're a hater that's a Dolphin supporter, dude. Obviously, you're gonna hate the Bills.
I don't see Josh Allen ever be better than Patrick Mahomes. I mean, win a Super Bowl first.
Oh my god.
Win a Super Bowl.
Dude, literally 2 weeks ago, you were already saying Tua was better than Josh Allen. I don't know. I don't know how much I take your word for.
He's regret. Look.
He's regret. Tua.
Look,
Oh,
if
Tua.
Tua bounces back to the form that he was, look, because the thing is with Tua, he hasn't
Oh
been as
God.
consistent.
Oh
But if Tua is able to
Christ.
bounce back and play like he's been playing, I'll go back to that.
Jesus. Yeah. Listen. No. I'm glad we were able to do this top five when after we saw what I think is the true Tua. Well, we were seeing the guy
We'll
to throw
see.
back to back interceptions and
We'll see. We'll see if it's the true Tua.
we'll see. We will see.
We will see indeed. But let's go ahead and get on to your team here. And well, I mean, to be
Oh, the
fair,
Bucks.
this is both of your teams in a way.
This
This is
one
like
was hard. Yeah. I mean,
this is like your
it's.
worst nightmare.
Oh God.
This is your goat and your team playing against your young goat. You know,
Baby
your
goat.
baby
Well,
goat.
baby goat.
So I know you were sitting there. You didn't even know who to pick. To be honest, you were torn.
It was tough because I mean it's a saying that goes all around. You don't bet against Tom Brady, and I will not ever bet against Tom Brady. He could be playing, like I said, he could be playing the freaking the Monstars. He could be playing Space Jam. I don't pick against Tom Brady. That's just something I don't do. But if there's anybody, I'll give more praise. I'm gonna go on this. I'm a freaking Joe Burrow, fully lover. I'm a fanboy. This is what I am. I love Joe Burrow's game, and I think he's the closest thing to Tom Brady that he plays. He reads the game like Tom does, but he's a little bit more mobile. People forget how mobile Joe Burrow can be when he wants to be. This is a guy that when he needs to run for yards, he can get you that first down. But this is going to be definitely. I'm going to really enjoy this game just because there's not a lot of games where I really like watching both quarterbacks work, but this is gonna be a very fun game to watch, and I'm just giving it to Brady just because it's Tom Brady. I mean, it mostly just comes down, can the defense keep it a close game for Tom to do his thing, because it's just been the same story every single game. It's just, Mike Evans, is he there? Is he not there? Is he, Chris Godwin? Can he do anything? Or, it's just that's how it's been the entire season. And I mean, from what I know from this moment, I think Joe Burrow should have Higgins and Jamar Chase, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
And God have mercy. God have mercy. That
And Joe
receiving
Mixon
duo
back.
and Joe Mixon back. Like God mercy, man. Like look, I think this game could really go either way. I wouldn't be very disappointed if the Bengals win, but I just picked the Bucks for the fact that it's the Buccaneers and it's Tom Brady. So I'm not really gonna go on fully one side and say, oh yeah, they're gonna win because this and that. But this game could really go. It's a flip of a coin, in my opinion.
I would say one of the reasons why the Bucks they're definitely in with a fighting chance here, outside of the fact that they have Tom Brady, who you never can really count out, and I've been wrong so many times in my life when I have counted them out or
Oh
bet
God.
against them or whatever. So obviously, you can't really ever do that to a certain extent. Even when they're looking down and out, we've seen it. We look at that Saints game, down and out, flip of a switch, they get the win. But the Bengals, we see this a lot with them. They play up when they're playing a big game like the Chiefs. They play up to their competition, but then also they play games where they kind of play down to their competition. And I think this is something that it's we might see again here. On paper, this should be a comfortable win for the Bengals. This should be. They're playing better. The Bucks are not really a good football team this year. They can be run on. Their defense is not as strong as it's been in the past, mostly because of probably injuries and things of that nature. And the offensive all is all out of sorts. And the Bengals defense is not great by any stretch of the imagination, but they're a solid defense. We've seen it against when they played the Kansas City Chiefs. They were able to, as much as somebody can, neutralize Travis Kelce and all of those other weapons, and also eventually get the win over Patrick Mahomes and that Chiefs team. So we've seen this Bengals defense play good when they've needed to, and we've seen that improved to a certain extent Bengals offensive line. We've seen they went out and they spent some money in the offseason to improve the offensive line, and it wasn't looking good to a certain extent, but now, potentially at this point in the season, we've seen it. They're starting to play a little bit better,
A little
and
bit better, yeah.
that's all you really need, for this team. They have the weapons if they're healthy, which they are going to be healthy. They're getting Joe Mixon, and
Fingers crossed, yeah.
and I just think on paper this should be comfortable. They're just the better team, and it's not really even that close per se. Like they are the better team, but because of the points that I made about them sometimes playing up or down to their competition, I think this will be a very close game, and I don't know if you can, like, the thing is, because it's the Bucks and they have Tom
The
Brady. Can
Buc-
can you expect them to always play this bad? Is their offense always going to be this out of sort for the whole game? It looks good in the fourth quarter, but is it always going to be this out of sort? And it's something that you kind of hold out a little bit of hope. Well, they're gonna find they might figure it out, or they might just play good this game. But I picked the Bengals because they are the better team. But it's not going to be a blowout. It's going to be decided a touchdown or less. It's gonna be a close game. But I think Joe Burrow is able to edge out this game. He has the better weapons right now. He had probably about the same defense, and I just think Joe Burrow is right now. He's playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I mean, he has he's not going to win the MVP, but he's catapulted himself where some people are talking about him in even the conversation. Which a week ago or 2 weeks ago you weren't having that conversation. He wasn't even in
no.
it wasn't even in the realm of possibilities, and he has catapulted himself into the slight possibility per se. It's not going to happen. It's a two-man race at this point, but Joe Burrow is playing like last season's Joe Burrow when they ultimately made a Super Bowl run, and it's not. This isn't a team that you want to count out come playoff time because the Bengals, we know what they can do. They've proven it last season. So, give me the Bengals on this. I think all things considered, they're the better team. They should win this game. If they don't, it'll be a mistake. It's going to come down to mistakes or just
Yeah.
moments of brilliance. But if I had to give it a score, give me Bengals 31-24.
Yeah, like I said, it could really go in their way. And I mean, people got to start realizing that this Bengals team has kind of caught fire. I mean, they're
Very similar to last
seven.
season.
They are 7-1 in their last 8 games, and they're on a 5-game winning streak. This is not looking good for the rest of the league. It's not looking good for my Bills pick. I mean, they play the Bills. The game after this one. I mean, they play the Patriots and then they play the Bills. That one's gonna play a huge role into if I'm going to stick with my Bills pick because I mean, that's gonna be if the Bengals run the table, dude. It's not. It's looking terrifying because that's especially that like I said, all this team it needs is just a mediocre. It doesn't even have to be good, just a mediocre offensive line to protect Joe Burrow just a little bit more, just a little bit more. That's all they need. That's all. It's literally it. That's all they need, and they can easily go out there and win a Super Bowl easily.
I mean, yeah, I agree with that. I mean, they have a good enough defense, that can play, even better than they normally kind of play per se in the big moments. And the weapons that they have, I mean, my God, I mean, any quarterback would love to have these Bengals weapons. And they have, a coach that doesn't necessarily get the respect he deserves. When the Bengals are playing bad, he gets the blame. But when they're playing good, he doesn't get the respect he deserves. Is Zach Taylor? I mean, this is a guy who's made the Super Bowl. I mean, this is a guy that deserves a little bit more respect as a head coach, and he's a good offensive mind. And when you have all of these pieces together, and then you have a guy with who just wins, Joe Burrow, it's recipes for success. And who's going to be surprised if come Super Bowl time that the Bengals are in there again? I wouldn't be surprised.
Bengals Cowboys.
Yeah, my Joe
Oh
Burrow versus
God,
Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy. My God.
But look,
Jimmy
I,
G could be back though. To be fair, we
to be
with
fair,
Jimmy G's news.
he could be back. I don't know if you'd play him though, like to come back for the Super Bowl. It'd be tough. I don't know.
I'd play him over freaking
If Brock Purdy
Brock
gets if
Purdy.
Brock Purdy gets you to the Super Bowl, are you really benching him for a guy who hasn't played in 3 to 4 months?
Oh God.
it's a debate to be.
Let's just see if Brock Purdy can get there. Let's just
Uh,
wait on that one. Let's just
of
sit on that
course,
one.
of
We'll
course,
put a
we
pin in
have to
that.
wait and see. But yeah, I mean, this game, that's pretty much all I got for this game. To be fair, I think if the Bengals don't win this game, I'll be shocked based on the form that they've been in.
Yeah, it can go either way for me, but I just don't bet against Tom Brady. That's just not what I do.
Well, in the same way that I picked the Dolphins against the Bills,
Oh God,
you kind of
that
had
isn't
to
a good
pick
one.
you
That
kind of
isn't a
had to
good one.
pick the Bucks here.
Oh God.
But unless you've got anything else you wanted to say about anything, I think we can go ahead and wrap this one up here.
I think that's it for me.
Well, look, like we said at the beginning of the episode, we just wanted to thank y'all for the continued support. This was the first episode or anything that we dropped in a little bit here. It was like 4 days, probably the longest we've gone without updating on the channel for God knows how long. Obviously, the circumstances weren't ideal, the reason why we weren't uploading. But look, we appreciate the continued support, and once again, we thank everyone for helping us get to 400 subscribers. Hopefully, I'm over here thanking y'all for 500 subscribers very soon. That's what we're currently on the grind for. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. If you like the episode, tell us what you thought about anything that we talked about. Do you think our France are going to win the World Cup? Who do you think is going to win the Golden Boot? Who's going to win the Ballon d'Or? This upcoming one. Who's going to win between the Dolphins and the Bills? Who's going to win between the Bucks and the Bengals? Let us know in the comments down below what you think, because we want to know, what are y'all thinking. That's the whole point. We want to hear
Yeah,
y'all's opinions as
absolutely.
well. So I'll go ahead and let you get in your final words here.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We want to hear from you guys. Everybody, Morocco fans, Dutch fans, you're still out there. You guys are still
You
out
are.
there.
You are still
You
out there.
you guys still you guys are football fans. You have something to say. You pick against us. I don't care. I just want to hear what all y'all have to say about our picks, and I'll give your guys' opinions on what, because I like going through it and I like finding people that actually guessed it right. There's a lot of people that get shit right.
Bro, this one guy in the comments literally picked Croatia to win on pens before the game. Like who was picking that?
No, I wasn't picking that. And look, there's some of these guys. Look. I'm not gonna let y'all get away with this shit. Look, some of y'all guys want to come out of nowhere and like, freaking Americans talking about football after like the Brazil Croatia. What are you talking about exactly, dude? Look, is it my fault that the favorite literally to win it all lost to Croatia? I think that's not a crazy thing to, that wasn't even necessarily a 50-50 game. Obviously, it's hindsight. But if you're making statements like that, I gotta see receipts of you backing this, from the day it was announced. I
And
gotta see this stuff.
he didn't, and I
And
saw that.
he did it. It's cap. So bro, I remember those things, dude. I remember those things. But to be fair, there's a guy that if you want to back up your pick, comment it below. Have it stamped so we can have it there for fact. I don't want to hear none of this shit after the fact. As oh yeah, I had them picked way before. Where's your proof? I have to see this proof.
And and exactly, if you comment the right prediction, it's gonna get mentioned. Just like the guy who commented that Croatia were going to win on penalties. I mean, what a prediction that was.
And even in the Moroccan fans, they were like, there's people that are commenting that Portugal is not going to get this through this steel wall defense.
And they
You were
were
damn
right.
right.
They
You were
were
damn
right.
right. They did not. They absolutely did not. They Morocco did what they did, and they proved me wrong. They kept
Proved
the
me wrong
story
as
on
well.
for one last one little dance against France.
So yeah, I mean, or just to reiterate, we would love to hear what y'all have to say, and we want to hear what y'all have to say, and we have 400 of y'all now, subscribed, so hopefully more people and more people will be able to give their opinions and will give their takes, and that's what we want, and we want to be able to engage with y'all and ultimately keep that going. So unless you've got any final words here, wrap this one up officially here.
Yeah, that's it for me.
So, with all that being said, thank y'all for all the continued support. This was episode 35 of the Shooter Straight podcast. We'll be back very soon for episode 36, right after the World Cup, or I don't know exactly how we're going to plan it here, but content will be coming either during the World Cup as a live reaction or right after with our thoughts about the game. So, stay tuned for that. But this was episode 35. I'm your co host, Zach.
I'm your co-host G.
And we'll see y'all next time. Episode 36 coming soon. Peace.